Hello, hello. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the ONG Strike Zone live on a Wednesday night. Brian Fulford, Kelvin Rozier, Marcus Green, uh, the three-headed snake that'll
Ah,
see Marcus. I didn't even know where I was going with that, but your laughter just kind of made me just kind of caught me there. Uh, hey, good to be back on the air with you guys. Kelvin, how you doing tonight?
Man, I'm doing good, man. We got a W over the weekend. Volleyball one out of two. Got to meet some of our esteemed colleagues from the show. You know, even had one to hang around a little late just to
Yeah,
meet us and come to find out the day I went to the dentist. Come to find out we run in some similar circles.
small world. Small world
mhm.
Tallahassee is. I'm telling you, small world Tallahassee is. Amazing. It's amazing. Marcus, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. Had a good week. We finally got some separation on Saturday night, so I didn't have to toss and turn. And everything else is looking good, and FAMU's having a good week, and so am I.
Well, I tell you, man, y'all are doing better than me, man. I dealing with some stuff, man. My stomach ain't been right ever since watching the 220 Club earlier today. I just like,
Hmm.
just yeah. I had to find
It's the
all kinds.
haircut.
Ooh, see,
Is that schoolboy haircut, man? You looking like you 15, maybe
I
20.
give me 20. I don't know. 15 wasn't a good year. Give me 20. I got a lot of regrets from my 20s, my time at FAMU. A lot of regrets. So, but hey, it's good to be back on with you. Good to
Hey,
see
you want to share
everybody.
them stories?
Nope.
You want to share them stories? Gibbs Hall. What's up?
Gibbs Hall.
We got time.
Gibbs Hall is not there anymore, so my stories died with it. My stories, my stories are in that pile of rubble on the ground. So, yes, that's exactly where my stories are. I'm gonna leave them right there in the dirt. That's where they belong. So, that's all I can say. Good to see everyone jumping in. Please make sure. Hopefully, you're following us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at ONG Strike Zone. Hit the thumbs up button or the like if you're watching on YouTube or on Facebook. And those of you watching on Twitter, hello to you. And hopefully you'll get over and join the conversation with the good people that are in the chat room. And want to always encourage you we are part of the Black College Sports Network and Jericho Broadcast Networks. Go download the Jericho Broadcast Networks app on the Google Play and Apple App Store. Right up there, you see it. Just search MyJBN or MyBCSN. 25 years, the BCSN has been streaming live HBCU content. And so good to have shows on and good to be a part of the broadcast network. Let me go to some shout outs first because we got a loaded show today. We got a 3-guest lineup for you tonight. We're going to start with a Rattler and an alum at the bottom of hour one, Maya Ellison, who's NCAA.com digital intern, a 2-time award-winning journalist right out of the School of Journalism and Communications. And so we're going to talk with her. And then at the top of hour one, we're going to meet the new bowling coach, Miss Capri Howard, the new bowling coach. We're going to talk to her. The bowling season is upon us. I saw they just released the schedule the other day. So we'll talk about that. And then at the bottom of hour two, Coach Devin Rispress, I'm telling you, hooked another big fish for FAMU, boy, a 4-star wide receiver right out of the backyard. It's amazing how guys leave Tallahassee and then realize everything that I ever wanted was right here in the backyard. But I get it now. I understand what it was like to want to leave home. But then just
It ain't
imagine
always been that way though. Uh,
that's
you know,
true.
uh, you know. Fortunately, we have a staff that is well connected with the community and create environment so that those kids can and want to come home, and then the university has made some investments. We're winning, so there's a lot of things that go with that. But man, as a local, I'm happy as a plum.
Yeah, it's a good thing that's happening. And Coach Riz is Marcus. I know we're gonna get heavy into recruiting talk. Well, just roughly, what are the numbers like in terms of the Tallahassee connection that we've been able to build over the last season or two?
I have to rack that up. Some of our more prominent players, of course, Jaquez Yant. We had a returnee coming back from Minnesota, University of Minnesota DB. I don't think he's played any this year, but I thought at the beginning of the season we had at least 3 or 4, maybe more, just coming in from this year, our Tallahassee connection. So we know between Jaquez Yant, the running back position, we have Trey Wilhoit at the.
Did we lose Marcus? I think we lost Marcus there. Kelvin, you still there?
You got sniped?
Yeah, he got sniped. So I'm gonna move him out for a second and let him figure that situation out. All right, let's do that. While we're waiting on Marcus, let me go through a roll call to some people who have jumped in early in the chat. So I want to say what's up to us. Of course, Kenneth Rose, your first one jumping in.
What's up?
No,
Mr.
actually,
Roser?
let me hold on. Let me go back for a second. I was wrong. Jimmy Mack was the first one in. Jimmy Mack, first one in.
J Mack, what's going on?
Yeah, good to see you, Jimmy Mack.
Looking forward to seeing you at least one home game if you can make it.
Mm-hmm.
Miss you, brother.
Yep, good deal. Vaughn checking in. I might have look. I'm going to go with the theory. Overpromise and underdeliver.
No. Hey, let me jump in on this one. Hey, Vaughn, I watched the YouTube and I saw them all over YouTube, so I know what you're saying.
I might have got it all out then. That was kind of fun, but so I may be. I don't know. I'd have had 6 hours to digest, and it ain't been good on my stomach. Steve Campbell, good to see you. Thanks for coming in, asking the question. Are we gonna have our guest from Valley? Man, I wish I would have thought to reach out to my guys, but no, we got to keep shirts on for this episode. So unless I don't know, Kelvin may go tank top later in the show. Just stick around. We'll see what happens. Bull jumping in. Yeah, talking about the broadcast from ESPN Plus. I will say this, Bull. I know what he's talking about the commercials running long, which is kind of surprising to me because they had a red hat. And those of you if you've ever looked down on the field during during a long timeout, you'll see a guy usually he's usually behind the offense. And not always, but anyway, if you look down on the field, down by the home sideline, you'll see a guy in a red hat, sometimes a red hat and red shirt. Well, the first couple games of the year, there was a guy in that same manner, but he had what would you say, Kevin, like a timer, a billboard that had a time clock on it. That was the amount of time that the commercial was going to run. This game on Saturday did not have that. This was an old school, hey, I'm the red hat. I'm here keeping up with the production booth. And when it's ready, when they're back from commercial, they'll, hey, we'll tell the official, okay, Mr. Official, we're good to go. It's usually about a 3-minute segment. I don't know why, that was off because there were, coming back from break, we were like in the middle of a play or bam, the play was that wasn't supposed to happen. So I noticed the first half was like that. I don't know if that happened all game or not, to be honest. But so that's a little critique from Bull. You saw that. Melissa Wilson checking in. Checking in. And she too agrees with Bull's coverage. Straight trash. Huh? Well, that's tough, man. I tell you, we are all critics here. Meredith, good to see you, Meredith.
I got to go back and watch it now because I didn't watch the stream.
Yeah, I'm telling you, and what's funny is from someone I'm in the next box over, so I'm there, and I'm watching, and that's kind of shocking how all that went down. So anyway, I think Marcus is back. Marcus, how you doing? All productions issues solved for you?
I hope so. It just shut off on me.
Yeah, that happens. That happens. Doggone internet. Coach Ferrazzi, good to see you. Checking in. Demetra coming in. I'm gonna keep it clean today. No mess from me. I promise. Over promise and under deliver, maybe. Let's see who else checking in. Watch JD TV. Yes, this is a wear a shirt episode today. With Valley, we're traveling to Valley. All shirts must be worn. All shirts.
We got somebody from the first season, from season 1. You remember that?
Yes, and that's love. That tells you y'all remember it. I think what's funny, Kelvin. I think there's some people that were probably eagerly expecting or hoping. You know what I'm saying? that we would have our guest on from Mississippi Valley, but unfortunately, I had to do spoiler alert. We do not have them on or have him on tonight. Chuck Hunt, checking.
Hey, just the well, I got my good teeth because I went to the dentist today. This is as good as they gonna get.
There you go. Stop it. If you know, you know. You got to go back and that's one of them archive episodes from the first season. Chuck Hunt from Monroe, Louisiana. Good to see you, Chuck. Thanks for checking in. Kenya Sykes checking in as well. Good to see you, Kenya. Montre Bennett. Sam Dixie checking in. Sam, of course, serving it up for the commissioner this past weekend. I
had the whole hog on the grill.
Best tailgate in the SWAC. I heard it from the commissioner's son. So I'm just gonna stamp that as commissioner approved. Some other folks from other schools were giving me some grief about that, but look, I'm telling you, when you get the commissioner that made it, look, what did he do, Kelvin? He made a trip back, right?
Yes, he did.
He passed us one time, said hello, and then what did he do? He came back. He came back to get some of the hogs. So that just tells you the commissioner did a scout around Bragg and realized, them guys Sam had the good tailgate.
We swag.
Right. We swag.
Yeah,
now.
we swag.
We swag now. We official. We official. Tony checking in. Good to see you, Tony. Tamara T, yes, good to see you. That's who we had a chance to meet.
It was great meeting you. Thank you. Appreciate it. All love.
For sure. All right. Let me see who else is in here. Marcus in here. Good to see you.
What's up, Marcus?
Joined us at the tailgate. We saw Marcus. Hey, and somebody mailed Marcus his doggone tickets. Y'all had Marcus having to come into town. Let me stop. I almost about to get started, about to get fired up in here. But I love the fact that Marcus was able to make that well known. Great job, Marcus, earlier today. John Taylor checking in. Good to see you, John.
Fellas.
Okay. I'll come back and hit a few more people up as I see them. But let's kind of get into the meat of what's going on. Coming out of the win number 17 in a row for the boys. Marcus, we didn't get a chance to hear from you post-game show, so let's start with you, your analysis, your quick thoughts and takes from the game against Alabama State.
Well, we started out doing pretty good. Came out with a bang. I think, well, first of all, props to the defense. It seemed to me, and I have to go back and reflect on it, it seemed like the whole game we were fighting a long field. And I think even our touchdowns were long drives, at least 80 yards plus, maybe 90. And so having to drive the long field, Alabama State seemed like their defense was a little off kilter. Seemed like we had our way in the first half. So props to the defense because we were getting short fields, even when they didn't score, which wasn't often. They put us in a bad field position inside the 15 or worse. And so the offense not being able to move the ball, they got great field position, seemingly like all game, but just couldn't take advantage of it. Special teams, got to work on it. I mean, the kickoff after our touchdown. It looked like our guy number 11 got blocked out of bounds and basically opened the seam for him to get to half midfield. And so I think we that was a good win. And in a season like this, you're going to have either close games or a come from behind win that you're going to have to navigate during the course of the season. So this was good to have a close win. And if I recall correctly from our preseason analysis, I thought Alabama State would be the closest contender for the crown for the SWAC East. And so the game kind of went how I thought it was. I was impressed with the quarterback. And that Keyshawn Johnson, I'm like, dude, I mean, he's playing like his former NFL counterpart, because he was all over the place and just seemed like he was uncheckable. But overall, I think we had a pretty good game. Still some things we need to clean up. And the efficiency we're seeing at the QB position the last 2 weeks, I don't think our final point totals belying what we're seeing from Jeremy Musa, because he's basically, I think, over 60%, maybe even 65% the last 2 weeks. And we've left a lot of opportunities on the board.
Mm-hmm.
We got to get our hand on the football. No more fumbles, no more turnovers. And overall, I thought it was
and get the run game going.
And get the run game. And I think teams have pretty much adopted the South Florida mantra of stacking up the run and daring Jeremy Musa to beat us. And I think we're fully capable when he's shown that the last 2 weeks with a 65% or better completion rate against West Florida and now Alabama State, that he can, but we can't depend. We shouldn't have to depend on that with the talent that we have.
But are we really depending on it, or are we just using what we have? And that is, right now, we've got a lot of weapons in the pass catching category, and we have a veteran experienced quarterback. And I know we all want the run. We all want more from the running game, but the passing game is just right now, it's efficient. It's the best in the SWAC. I know. Don't everybody kill me. Don't everybody kill me here. I'm just calling it what it is. It's like, if you the most handsome guy in a room full of slogs, well, then you just got to be that guy. You just got to be that guy. But I'm just saying what I'm trying to say is, I know a lot of people are poo-pooing the quarterback play in the SWAC. We got the best. We got the best guy. The statistics show it. And the last 2 weeks, he's shown up. Look, we have scored on our first offensive drive of the game in 3 of the 4 games we played.
Mm-hmm. Which was exact opposite of last year. Last year, we were all lamenting the slow starts.
Exactly.
So we're starting fast, but we need to play a full, complete game. If we played a full, complete game, he would probably have at least another 500 yards of passing, and our scoring average would probably be in the 40s. Because we've seen the points left on the board and the passes not caught or the passes overthrown. It seems like the last 2 weeks we were having a lot of drops, whereas in the first game or two we were having some throws that were a little errant that could have yielded big things. And also, Vaughn noted that the defense didn't really give up a touchdown, because that was kind of a fluke play in terms of the ball popping up.
Yes.
And all credit to the wide receiver, so not taking anything away from Alabama State. But if you think about it, basically, the quarterback for Alabama State, I don't recall his name, threw the ball. He was in the grasp. He threw it up, basically up for grabs. And we had 2 defenders. I think we had Eric Smith and Isaiah Major in the area, and it popped up in the air, and the secondary receiver snagged it out the air, and everybody was scrambling trying to get to where they thought the ball was going to be, and he caught it and just took it in. So other than that, despite the near 300-yard passing, it wasn't Demetrius Davis. I don't know if he was benched or if he was hurt, but it was another quarterback.
No, they replaced him. The guy, I think that same quarterback finished the game previous.
Yes, he did.
And so, that was a sign that he was probably going to start. And I thought actually, I think both of them are sophomores, but I actually thought that quarterback didn't look bad.
Correct.
No,
I think he may give them a chance to with their defense and and the weapon they have at receiver against the rest of the SWAC. They already beat Southern, so
Mm-hmm.
But that
They
counts
have a
as
chance.
Is that counts a conference game, or was that one of
No,
those non-conference?
it doesn't.
Oh,
Yeah, so it doesn't count. But yeah, I mean, he looked Stewart. Thank you, Kenya. I mean, he looked good, and for coming in, and their defense tightened up in the second half, and I know we tried to run, and we didn't have much success, and it seemed like the defense
Turnovers.
was
Third quarter,
yeah, that was,
Marcus was when we had those back-to-back turnovers,
mhm.
and
we were marching on that play when Musa
Yeah.
got stripped.
yeah.
We were I think on the plus side of the field. We were
Well,
going in.
I'll try to be as brief as possible. I just want to get some points in. The last outside of the South Florida game, we've only given up 3 points in the first half against all three opponents. So to speak to how dominant Dark Cloud defense is, yeah, we were a little frustrated because Alabama State had a little time off. They had the prize week off. So they and coach kind of mentioned this. So from a scheme standpoint, those first couple of drives, they basically went unbalanced. They had 3 to 4 receivers on one side in a bunch formation. Then they will motion out a running back sometimes also, and then just throw it over there and try to, and so the first couple of plays it was effective, and then we played off the receiver, so that gave a free release to the receiver in the slot, and they kind of hurt us there a few times, but outside of that, man, the bottom line was you right. We had a long field the entire game, really, and the defense every time, no matter what happened, because I think coach also pointed out they started on the plus side of the field most of the time with their drives,
Mm-hmm.
and the defense would pushing back, and so forth, and then they sealed the win with a pick six.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm really happy with the defense. The other thing I point out is we've played our 4 best opponents on paper already. So now to the other side of it, coach mentioned about the injuries. We've got some guys banged up, particularly on the O line there, and we got some guys who haven't started or only played partial games. So I kind of get some of the issues we've had, but we talked about our depth. We talked about the experience of this team. So starting with this Valley game, I know we're gonna do predictions later, but based on who we played, the caliber team we have talent wise and the experience, this is a game. This Valley game is where we got to put up points. Delta State put up 35 against them. Central just put up 45 against them. So this is the game we got to put up 40 plus.
Mm-hmm. Now, one other thing I see in the comments, and I will circle back around, but I was sitting here watching the game like, who is refereeing this game? I mean, there was one lateral that was a forward pass. There were 2.
We
One
almost brought out the belt.
pass.
This we ain't gonna bring the belt out this week.
Yeah, I know.
But we talked about it.
You might need to have an orange belt
gonna get the belt.
Orange and green belt on the sidelines, because between that and the one where you missed it down, which is when the drive where Musa punched
second offensive drive, drive of the game.
Pooch punted, and then there was the one they thought was a lateral. Well, they called it a lateral, and it was a clear forward pass in the first half. And then near the game when we were, I guess, trying to work out kinks in the offense and trying to run up the score, and they almost did the same thing again. So I'm like, there was like a whole in front of the commissioner and on ESPN. There was a whole like cavalcade of errors that were going on. So
yeah, how do you forget a hold down?
Well,
I mean, they forgot a hold down. Like I know in our section, I was sitting, we was like, hey, the guy ain't changed that was on second down. We was like, hey, he hadn't changed it back to second down. He had third down, right?
Exactly.
Then and we were pointing it out back then. Then when it got to third down and he had fourth down, we was like, it's third down. What's the confusion here? And they never corrected it. So that's the play where Musa ended up doing a pooch kick. But man, they were. I mean, there was one play in the what was that, the third or fourth, where they let the guy get like 10 yards. The Powell's they stopped them for like a 3-4 yard game, and there was a big pile, and like for 10 seconds, they let it go on, and luckily nobody came and submarined the pile and stuff, and somebody got hurt. But they wouldn't blow the whistles, man. It was they thought a forward pass was a fumble or a lateral. I never figured out which one they thought it was, but either way, I'm like, man, do these guys need glasses? Did they go out drinking? I mean, it was horrible, man.
Yeah, it was bad.
I gotta call it like it is. Them refs, I don't know what the hell was wrong with them.
Yeah, be thankful that game didn't and wasn't closer, because I would have hated for that game to have come down to the officiating and some of the missed opportunities that they created. And also, I'll even call out, it was extremely physical, but there was also a lot of trash talking, a lot of questionable, I'm not going to call it dirty, you can if you want, but there was a lot of questionable actions going on in that contest. And I'm not just talking about on the sideline, I'm talking about between the lines, very close to the sideline. And so that is, look, the rivalry, if you didn't think there was a rivalry between FAMU and Alabama State, there is now. It is official. And so, look, I mean, we just going to have to keep close to the vest whenever we travel. Rattlers going to have to stay together when you travel in Alabama, for well, I was going to almost said something. I said, no, I'm not. But anyway, you just got to stick together so that you don't get stung by any hornets when you're rolling around in Alabama. Hey, one thing to note, our defense, I was looking at the stats from the NCAA stats. We are number one, not only in the FCS, but also in the conference in team tackles for loss. We're number one in the conference in team sacks, number 9 in all of FCS. If you go and look at the numbers that Anthony Dunn is putting up individually, he's putting up some top-notch numbers in FCS. So as you start to see in these next couple of weeks, I have a feeling you're going to start to see his name on some watch list. You should, because he's starting to make a name for himself as well as this defense. But all right, let's do this, fellas. Let's take a short break. Come back on the other side. Talk to Maya Ellison on the other side of the break. We'll talk to her about this season, what she's observing from FAMU, and how she does what she does, where she's at. Former FAMU, former student in the School of Journalism and Broadcast Communications. So we'll talk to her on the other side. You guys hang right in there with us so we can take a short break. You're watching the ONG Strike Zone right here on the Black College Sports Network.
Since 2002, Empowerment Resources, Inc., a nonprofit organization, has empowered more than 1,500 youth and adults in Duval and surrounding counties. Through its programs, Journey into Womanhood, Girls Mentoring, Life Skills for Teens, and Parenting Education Coaching. To get involved with programs, volunteer, or donate, visit www.empowermentresourcesinc.org. Follow us on social media, facebook.com/empowerment.resources and instagram.com/empowermentJAX.
The human voice has always connected audiences with experiences. Major brands all across America have trusted Kever's voice time and time again. Conversational, powerhouse, intelligent, and sincere. That's the voice you need for your creative marketing process. KEAVERSVOICE.com. Kever's Voice, Kever's Voice, KeversVoice.com. Always on, all the time.
Nope. Nope.
Come on, him.
Ooh, I like him.
Quick, the quicker picker-upper. Bounty picks up messages quicker, and each sheet is 2 times more absorbent, so you can use less.
He's an 8.
He's a 9.
Bounty, the quicker picker-upper.
From novice to aficionado, find yourself here. High quality cigars plus personal customer service. Slow Burn is Waco's only mobile cigar lounge, featuring a meticulous, curated collection of premium cigars. Visit our website, www.slowburnwaco.com. That's www.slowburnwaco.com.
We're going to Florida, and we're going to bring you back a victory to Jackson. God to y'all!
What you say now, Chuck? Man, you a plumb fool, man.
Y'all almost let me forget about Chuck. Can't forget about Chuck. Welcome back to the ONG Strike Zone. Brian, Kelvin, and Marcus here. We're gonna have Maya Ellison joining us in just a second. Just waiting to see. I know she's in the chat feed, and so I think she is all set to go. So let me go ahead and get our first guest set to go. And there she is, everybody. Miss Maya Ellison.
Hi.
Welcome to the ONG Strike Zone. You look like you are dressed appropriate for the job, for the call.
You know, just graduated in the spring. You know, I'm done with my family, but I'm a rattler for life. My dad's a rattler. It runs in the family. So, you know.
Very nice. Well, yeah, congratulations on that. A spring graduate.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about yourself. You know, where you're from. You mentioned that your dad is a rattler. You know, kind of give us from the A. Marcus. I was gonna let her do all that. Go ahead and give us a little background so people who may not be familiar with you can get to know you a little bit.
Yes, well, first of all, it's such a pleasure to be on tonight. You all bring the energy. You know, I've been watching and I'm just excited to be here. But like I said, I'm Maya. I am a recent graduate and I'm from the A. So, you know, I'm from the East Side, you know, Mr. Green, you know. So, but really, I got my start in sports, honestly, from my dad. So like when I was little, so he went to FAMU, like I said, he was a computer science major, but he played baseball. So growing up in Atlanta, you know, he was all about the sports. Like we want to get you in swimming, in soccer, in tennis, you know, didn't go the softball route. Okay. But he was the one that actually inspired me to more so get into sports. And my main thing came from, so like I play tennis. I'm still playing tennis. And, you know, I'm watching tennis matches as I'm younger, and me and my dad would have conversations like, why aren't there so many Black women that are representing us, you know, within the tennis realm? And that right there was like the spark for me. I already did broadcastings in my elementary school, middle school, and high school. So I just kept it going. So a little bit about like my experiences. Before I got to FAMU, I interned with CNN News Source. Then that went on to me covering FAMU right when I got to right when I got to school in 2019, which then turned into me covering Florida State with the Orlando Sentinel. I've worked with Fox 5. With Turner Sports Production, with ESPN, worked with Tiffany Green and her show, Black College Live, and, you know, just so many other things. And now I'm here with NCAA. So I am with the digital team, and pretty much what we do, we cover all sports. So whether that's FBS, FCS, soccer, right now we're covering like cross country, you name it, like we're covering it. And it's really just the benefit of like helping tell those stories. Like that's really why I'm in the sports room, to like help tell those stories. If you're an athlete that has something that you want to get off your chest, you know, you have a story to tell, like that's my main goal. And I guess that's why I'm passionate about it. So that's the little gist, like the shorter version of my background in sports.
Oh, that's
right.
Awesome. That's awesome. Go ahead, Marcus.
Thank you.
Yes, well, I was a little bit more interested in your work with the NCAA.com. And I know one of the friends of the show, Stan Beckton, I believe he covers FCS. I'm not sure if he covers the full gamut or FCS. I know we've had him on a couple of times, and he's spoken to us about, I guess, observations on FAMU and the FCS landscape. So I was curious to understand exactly your role and what latitude you have with the position you currently have.
Yeah, so Stan is my dude. Like, I've been able to ask him so many questions. So he does the full latitude of FCS. He also does cross country. And so I'm trying to learn the realms around what goes behind covering like FCS. Right now they have us on FBS. So basically what my role looks like. It's more of an like a fellowship. So it's pretty much for a year. And what they teach us, honestly, is just the aspect of whether that means covering a team. We have things called super pages. So if you go on the website, you can check out how each FCS team is doing each week, thanks to Stan, thanks to so many others within our team. But it's such amazing. I say it's an amazing experience, especially for college students. I'm just graduating. So I know a lot of my friends have those conversations, like just being transparent about the nerves of leaving school and trying to figure out what the next step is. And so I was really adamant, honestly. Like, I was like, I want to work in sports, whether that's me being on air, whether that's me producing, being in a digital room, wherever I can, learn the ins and outs of what goes into covering sports. And this role is perfect because, like I was saying before, it's not just covering football, it's each season. So for us, we're responsible for everything from handling Bleacher Report posts on social, from handling, like right now, my first assignment literally was crazy. I had to write up the Ohio State schedule and I had to put it on the website, like just right out the gate. But they had so much faith in me and 3 other interns to be able to take on that opportunity. So yeah, just covering football for the fall season, helping cover like cross country, like Stan does that. He's on the road all the time, covering soccer and volleyball. And it's not just to like your FBS schools, but to your FCS, for your D2, for your D3, just really being a platform, I guess, in this case, for me to understand what it takes to cover and keep people up to date about what's going on in sports. And it's honestly helping because like I've never watched soccer a day in my life, but now I can talk about like who's ranked number 1, like what's going on. And honestly, I'm just really adamant about learning. Like I said, I grew up on football. So now I'm like, well, let me try myself at different sports.
Well, thank you. Thank you so
You're
much.
welcome. Yeah.
Nice. Go ahead, Kelvin.
I'm interested to know first, what was your favorite experience at FAMU in terms of similar to what you do in the media journalistics sphere, and then what is something that you would like to do in the future that you haven't had a chance to do yet?
Man, that's a really good question. Like, I feel like I was the type of student where I just wanted to do everything. Like, I coined my professor, Professor Jones, for like setting the pathway for me at School of Journalism. But I'll say my favorite moment was receiving my award. So like the first time, I didn't know. Crazy story. I didn't even know. It was during COVID. And at the time I was helping cover Florida State because I was like, well, we go on the side of the tracks, like what we doing? So I ended up covering Florida State and I actually he actually submitted that off of luck. It was a package that I did on Florida State football. Came back during COVID and he was like, you won an award. And I was like, really? Like at the time it was COVID. I was like a sophomore. I was like, I don't have nothing to do. And so after he told me that, like, that was the fuel that I needed to really say, okay, like this is what I want to do. And then fast forward to before I graduated and I took a stab at covering politics. So I ended up driving all the way to Thomasville, Georgia. So, Thomas County is like an hour away. So I got up at 6 a.m, drove all the way to Thomas County, and I ended up covering, it was election season. And so he was like, this is a really good package. We want to submit for awards. Like, this is what we're doing. So I said, okay, Professor Jones, like, you got it. He the man. So he submitted it and I ended up getting an award. I got one of the finalist awards. So I would say those two were like the biggest accomplishments to me, just because it was like, I don't know. I feel like people that are in journalism, I mean, you all can probably attest to that. Like, I don't know. It's just seeing like sometimes you look at other people, especially for me coming out of college, like it's like you question your abilities. But then just having those moments really was just like the solidification that I needed. Like, this is what I love to do. There should be no reason why I should question my passion and my love for sports. So I'll say those two. And maybe just covering FAMU as a whole. Like, I don't know. Like, I was always on the field. You can ask my friends. I was never in the stands. I think I'm kind of spoiled on that sense. Like, if I come back for homecoming, I'm 9 times out of 10 going to be on the field instead of in the stands. So I feel like I've gotten spoiled in that aspect. And then, you said what?
No, go ahead, Mike. Go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, but yeah.
What about in the future? What is something you would love to do?
Oh, in the future. Okay, so I have a long list. So like right now, my passions are being on air, being a sports journalist, being able to tell stories, and I want to be able to do that within the NFL. You know, like look at people like Tiffany Green, who's my mentor, Pam Oliver, who has been such a pioneer in the sports world. I have mentors like Laura Oakman, so many others, and they just set an example for especially women like me that look like me. But I definitely want to make it somewhere where I can just help tell those stories, whether that's like through the NFL, which I always used to say. Now I feel like I'm branching out into like tennis and golf. And sometimes people are like, that's a little weird. I feel like there aren't too many people that look like you that are in tennis and golf. But I'm like, don't knock it, y'all. Like, I feel like when you look at stories like, for example, take when Serena Williams went against Naomi Osaka, right? And the whole narrative was these two Black women getting pitted against each other. And I rarely remember, honestly, I mean, I ask you all, like, I rarely remember seeing someone come out, a journalist, and say it's not about pitting two Black women against each other. It's about someone that's walking into the game, playing against someone that they basically look up to. And it's not even about pitting two Black women against. So, and I feel like, you know, that's a whole nother conversation. But I will say, like, the reason why I get passionate about that is because I am a tennis player and I want to be able to come out and say, look, like, speak up for Black women in sports, speak up for the conversation around Black quarterbacks in the NFL, you know, how Black gymnasts within the collegiate aspect are really paving the way right now. So yeah, I guess that answers your question. So if you see me on the tennis channel, you know, just know I made it.
Hey, I know once you get that buzz of being on the sideline, you'll never want to go back.
Yeah,
you'll never want to go back to the stands. And then once you get into the press room, and then you get the media food and all that stuff.
Media food.
The Chick-fil-A.
Like, I gotta bring it back to that, because once I realized that, in the media they got free drinks, and it was over. I never went back into the stands. I'm sorry.
They got Chick-fil-A, free drinks, everything.
Look, I'm telling you. So look, Maya, I'm curious. You spending some time over at Florida State and doing some coverage there, and obviously with your time at FAMU. Talk a little bit about some of the differences that you see in maybe just the way things are done, the way things have been done, and maybe just some of the how you see FAMU being covered.
Yeah.
Versus, maybe compared to how you see Florida State being covered, or at that time when you were there.
Oh, yeah. I'm so glad you asked this question. So long story. So I did a project this past spring on NIL. This is, for example. So as we know, NIL is this whole wild, wild west within the sports world, especially for college athletes. The whole conversation that coaches have on whether are these athletes coming because they love the game, or is it because they just want to make money, So that right there, when I did my documentary and I talked to the AD, I talked to Isaiah Land, I talked to Nick Dixon, Trey Benson over at Florida State, Kaylee Mudge, who's actually a softball player at Florida State. She's their number one earner at the time she was. And honestly, just taking a look at the differentiation between the two, meaning how much money is allocated to the athletic department, which makes a big deal from both sides. Whether that is a trend of seeing FAMU covered in a negative light whenever certain things happen versus Florida State being covered in more of a positive light. And we understand, we're talking about FBS versus FCS, but I feel like it shouldn't be a differentiation. So going back to the NIL conversation, for example, you look at Trey Benson, who's in your top 50 earners in the country. At the time, I think he was in top 50 or top 100, but he was in the top of NIL earners, but we're talking in the country. And then we're talking about Isaiah Land. He had an NIL deal at the time with Hungry Howie's. And I remember Nick was like, there should be no reason why Isaiah should have a deal with Hungry Howie's. There should be no reason why Xavier should even be struggling or not have any NIL deals at all, for example. We had those conversations, but the whole, I guess, message behind that was a lot of the athletes from both sides are still struggling, I guess, to understand NIL, which people don't understand. Like, from an athlete's perspective, for someone at Florida State, for example, I'm a top earner in the country. I don't have to pay for anything. I already get extra stipends. I'm set. For someone that's like at a school, at a FCS school or an HBCU, trying to figure out, hey, I rely on these NILs to make it, to, send back to my family. I think that should be the positive message behind NIL, not exactly, well, this player is making this player is making that, but how NILs are honestly helping athletes. So like that was one, I guess, differentiation. But in coverage, I see it now. Like with NCAA, I'm at a great place because we cover everything equally. But I know that in some cases that always doesn't happen. And I don't even know. I mean, I know what to blame, but it's kind of hard to talk about it because we know how much, like I said earlier, how much money is allocated to Florida State, how much money is allocated to FAMU. I always talk about even JUCO athletes. There are some guys out here that are doing numbers on these FBS guys, but yet they don't get the coverage, and I feel like it's the same conversation with HBCUs, and it's always, oh, let's talk about FAMU when we make it to the Celebration Bowl. Well, let's talk about FAMU when we're undefeated. Or like, let's talk about Florida State regardless of the situation. I feel like it's a sense of demographic. And even like when I was covering, that was 2-3 years ago, just the ambiance, for example, of like being in the press box there, being in the press box at FAM, both energies are completely different, both in positive ways, obviously, but like they are completely different. And you all know, I think as journalists, though, we have an obligation to help put FAMU on the map, just like these FBS schools. And that's what I'm learning. Like, I'm still learning that, but I hope that I get to a point where I can talk about FAMU and talk about Jackson State and NC Central in the same light as, like a Florida State or a UNC or, those, or UGA.
Yeah. Maya, you're an old soul, boy. You see it. I tell you what, boy, you see it. I'm like,
you're hired.
Look,
oh my goodness,
you're hired.
I still got my training wheels on.
I'm not buying it. You got some great teachers. I'll tell you that. Marcus, go ahead.
Thank you.
Actually, I have a couple of questions. I'm trying to figure out which way to go. I guess one of the questions I wanted to ask, have you had a chance to observe, I don't know if you're traveling like Stan, but I don't know if you've had a chance to observe FAMU football this year. So I wanted to get your perspective. The other thing I wanted, before you go, and one of the questions I wanted to ask, and it's kind of not related to FAMU per se, but it's the challenges and triumphs that you have had or maybe anticipate being an African-American woman in sports journalism. So I know it's kind of divergent, but first I want to get your opinion on what you've seen from FAMU thus far. Good, bad, things you can improve, because you're still a fan and you're an alum. So you can put your 2 cents in, but I also want to ask the more important question in terms of being in a sports journalism in an industry that's growing more and more women. And I follow a lot of folks on social media, but it's still to a certain point, or to a large point, dominated by males.
Yeah, of course. Well, I guess starting on FAMU topic, I saw something on Twitter the other day, and I don't know who said it, but the tweet was, "We're not the hunters anymore. We're the ones being hunted." And that right there was like, that was deep, because like you take a look at the past, I guess we'll say since Coach Simmons has been there, and just the change that I guess he's brought upon the Rattlers, the energy that he brings. You all talk about it on the show. He doesn't shy away from talking about the positives and the negatives in the same light. And I think that's what makes a really, really good coach, when you can, like, for example, you all talked about it, the mentality, we see that. And I noticed it even being at FAMU. Sometimes as athletes, being a former athlete myself, it's all about staying in the game. My dad taught me that, you always, in tennis, you never want to give up the last point, because something could always change. The same goes for football. You never want to give up at all. You want to play your fullest until the end. And I know that, the whole mentality conversation, the team is hungry. We know they're hungry, but it's all about, I guess, asking players, how bad do you want to win? This year, though, I feel like we look really good. I feel like we look efficient on all ends, offensively and defensively. I have these conversations with my friends, and I remember at the beginning of the season, they were like, FAMU is not going to do good. I said, y'all better watch what you say. I was like, y'all better. So I was like, no, y'all are crazy. Like, and turns out they were crazy. So, but no, like really just evaluating, like we have some heavy hitters, we got Jeremy Musa, Terrell Jennings. Yeah. He was showing out at Jackson State and so many others, Isaiah Major, Eric Smith, Gentle Hunt. I feel like we are really dominating, like I said, on all ends and being efficient and just seeing the conversation behind us about to be on the road. And that is also a mental challenge. I feel like people don't talk about that in a sense, like having to be on the road away from, that orange and green energy, away from being right at the stadium, I feel like that is also a mental test in itself. And there's this conversation that I'm hearing from my friends, and we talk about this all the time, just talking about, for example, Southern, Mississippi Valley, Texas Southern. We can easily beat them, but I feel like we shouldn't also count them out because just like I said earlier, we're not the ones that's going hunting. They're trying to hunt us, meaning that every team that's going out to like battle us, where we're going to battle, like they're going to bring their A game, whether they have a good record or not, whether the stats are showing it or not. And I feel like we have a very good chance, of course, of continuing this winning streak that we're on. But at the end of the day, we shouldn't let up. We shouldn't leave room to, let things pass us by for the defense to lack up, for the offense to miss out on certain opportunities. And just little stuff like that I've been realizing. But overall, I think we're doing great. At least from what I'm seeing, I wear my FAMU shirt with pride to work. So
there you go.
I wear it with pride every day. So, but one thing I am super excited though is for the homecoming game, like Prairie View. That's going to be really good. And like, there's some history behind that. Coach Simmons being there about over 5 years ago. They're number one right now. We're number one. So it's like a battle at the top. And so, like I said earlier, there should be no room to let up on your A game at all. So I'm excited for that. Like, I'm super excited. Hopefully I'm there. Hopefully I can sneak something in with NCAA to help cover that, but fingers crossed.
Oh, let us know who we need to send tweets to. We'll get Rattler Nation on it. We got to tell the NCAA, hey, you got to send Maya to homecoming. Come on now, NCAA.com.
Yes, I definitely want to send. And even like talking about this, not just football. Like I feel like we shouldn't surpass so many of the other things that we're doing as Rattlers. We're talking about volleyball. Tennis just did really well this past, what was that, a couple weeks ago? Was that a week ago? A couple weeks ago? They came here to Atlanta. Our volleyball team is doing well. Like, I feel like Rattlers have a sense of pride right now, and we've always have. And I feel like people have been missing us and putting us under the rug for a while. But now we're making noise with not only just football, but like with our Lady Rattlers, man. Like they're dominating. And so I just can't even wait to see them, defend that SWAC title with volleyball, tennis, with those ladies just really doing well on all ends. And even like with our football making it to the Celebration Bowl, hopefully I'll see you all,
Yes. I already got my hotel.
See,
there we go.
That's what Rattlers, real Rattlers are doing right there. Just go ahead and book your hotels now. Book your hotels.
Exactly.
Maya, I want to give you a last word, give you an opportunity to give a shout out to any folks that you want to, let people know how they can find you on social, and feel free to share with us any big projects or something that you're working on that we can look forward to watching.
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah, I definitely, and I guess this can go into a final question that Mr. Green asked about just being a Black woman in sports. I really coin my parents for a lot, like for everything. God, of course, just being in this space, all of the doors that I've walked through, it's honestly not because of me. Like honestly, it's not because of me. It's because of where God has placed me in life. And I also coined my parents for instilling that in me. Like I said earlier, my dad has taught me how to be confident in rooms where I'm the only Black woman. I remember story time. Sorry. I remember being at Florida State, and of course, I was a sophomore. This was my first time ever covering in like a big team at all. That was the first year that when Mike Norvell came in. So that was already like, y'all have me covering this team and they got a new coach. So I know they're not going to do that well, but so it was just the whole, it was the pressure of honestly being in a room where I felt like I was the only one, but it was also the feeling of gratitude knowing I was the only one, because it was like, man, like, am I paving the way, or can I at least help pave the way, and use that opportunity to network, which in turn opened up so many opportunities for me to help cover FAMU, to meet so many people like Mr. Vaughn on the sidelines, to go to my professor like Professor Jones, Professor Blackburn. And I feel like the whole thing about just being a Black woman in sports is it's honestly just taking the opportunity. Sometimes my mentors tell me, they're always like, we don't want opportunity to surpass you. We know that you have the talent, but now it's time to network. And that's honestly what it is. Like, you really just have to put your best foot forward. And I've been blessed to not, I guess, be placed in certain positions. Like I just finished an internship this past summer with NASCAR. And the stigma behind NASCAR is something that's negative, but they're really trying their best to diversify the industry. And I saw that through my internship. And even with that, like, now I'm 4 years in this game. And I walked in and I was like, I'm not going to be nervous. I'm going to put my best foot forward. I'm just going to be myself, pray about the opportunity, and know that this wasn't for like no reason, pretty much. And then taking that opportunity and skill set of learning how to interact in the office politics, so many other aspects that play into what goes into being a Black woman in sports. I use that where I am now. I continue to be myself, take on opportunities, ask so many questions, and just not being afraid to like speak up. I think that's what it is. And sometimes it's disheartening when you see the talk about like Black journalists, and it's always, I feel like for us, it's the thought process of, well, let me watch what I say, let me watch what I wear, let me watch what I do, versus if it's like, Mr. Kelvin, I see you smile, like that's true though. Like, that's the conversation that's around us, versus on the other side, it's like, oh, it's fine, they can wear, you can wear whatever you want, you can say whatever you want. Oh, you said this, it's okay, that was controversial, okay, we'll just let it slide. I feel like there's that thought process of having to think, always being in your head about things. Instead, like, I'm learning to just listen to my mentors like Tiffany Green. She has been such a great asset. Like, I look up to her in so many ways, just about how she carries herself, just about how she's a pioneer, a monumental figure within this sport, and just learning like it's okay to be yourself on a broadcast. Don't be afraid to add a little outcast pun in there. Mr. Green, bring a little outcast flavor to it.
That's right.
So like, that's the thing. Like, that's just who I am. And I feel like as a Black woman, sometimes you're like, should I say that? Are they going to get that? But it's okay. Just be yourself. So that's what I'll say. But yeah, definitely I coined my parents and like all of my mentors, from Tiffany Green to Pam Oliver, who's someone that I'm just now meeting, but has been such a pioneer even when I didn't know her. Even just to my family, just for always being my number one supporters and friends and stuff. And I hope that I can carry that along. Like, you never forget your family, you never forget your friends and things like that, and the people that really helped you along the way. So yeah, I just hope that I bring that along, and wherever I go, I'll always remember this moment. So like, I just thank you all as well.
Man, I tell you what, hey, parents, dad,
mom and dad, yes.
Mom, dad, mentors, teachers, y'all did a good job with this one, boy. I tell you.
Hey, she must play for the Braves because she hit it out the park.
Well, I tell you what, look, Maya. You guys make sure you guys follow Maya. If you're not, you see the handle there on X or Twitter. Same thing on Instagram at the Maya Ellison. Maya, hey, we hope we see you at homecoming.
Yes.
And look, we got to have you back on later on in the season as we get closer to that SWAC championship celebration bowl time. So thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you all so much.
Yeah, awesome job. All the best to you and everything you're doing. Way to represent FAMU everywhere you go. Man, awesome job. All right.
Thank you all so much.
All right. Hey, everybody, we're going to take a short break, come back, and talk to our new head bowling coach, Coach Capri Howard, right on the other side. So you guys make sure to hang in there. You're watching the ONG Strike Zone right here on the Black College Sports Network.
If you think all pads are exactly the same, think again. This is Always Ultra Thins reinvented with the Always Triple Protection System. This pad wicks gushes 90% faster, absorbs even more so you can feel dry, and locks odors in. Rethink your pad for up to 100% leak-free and odor-free comfort with the totally reinvented Always Ultra Thins. This is always like never before.
The Cuvée Group is a Florida-based marketing and training consulting firm. We help businesses communicate to their target audience and engage them in conversation. We also help to expand their audiences, which will ultimately result in growth for those organizations. In addition to being a certified constant contact specialist, my colleagues and I are also certified in John Maxwell Leadership Principles. We use these proven principles to conduct workshops, training, and private coaching sessions for individuals and companies looking to take things to the next level. Contact us to schedule a free consultation. Issues today, don't delay, call Cuvée.
As technology continues to bring changes to the world of education, it's time we also reimagine teacher professional development. Gone are the days of one-size-fits-all learning that can only be accessed at a specific time and place. The Stride PD Center is an on-demand library of mobile-friendly courses that allow educators to learn anytime and anywhere. Our dynamic courses provide bite-sized learning and help educators advance their knowledge while also gaining professional development hours. The best professional development plans are those that include a level of flexibility and choice for educators. Whether you're a teacher, school, or district, visit us today to take charge of your learning.
All right, welcome back to the ONG Strike Zone. Brian Fulford, Kelvin Rozier, Marcus Green, and it's a pleasure to now be joined by our new head bowling coach, Coach Capri Howard. Coach Howard, how are you doing this evening? Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I'm doing good. How are you?
We are doing well, Coach. Hey, for those who aren't familiar, Coach has been on the yard for just over a couple of months now. Let's see. Your coach is a graduate of Jackson State, where she was a 4-time All-SWAC team member, the bowling team from 2017 to 2021. And part of your teams were in 3 SWAC championships. I guess I'm assuming that was the title games, was it not, or the title matches? Yes,
those are the championship matches at our conference tournament.
Nice. And so then you went on and you were pursuing, let's see, I'm just reading right here from off of FAMUathletics.com. You went ahead and pursued your passion for bowling education, pursuing a master's of science in digital media from Valparaiso University up in Northern Indiana, very familiar, home state, rather. And now you're here at FAM. So welcome to the family, Coach. What's it been like the first couple of months on the job in Tallahassee?
Everything's been good. Getting a lot of things done for the girls, getting a lot of uniforms, getting things set up, getting ready to start practicing. Our season officially starts October 1st. First team practice is next Monday. First tournament is October 13th in New Orleans, the Tulane Invitational. So everything's been going good. Everything's been moving really fast, but I'm ready. We're ready for a great season.
So let's talk a little bit about your background and your background in bowling. Obviously, just kind of give us a little background on, how much, I guess, how did bowling come into your life, and how did it help you in terms of pursuing your degree from Jackson State and the opportunities it provided you?
So I come from a family full of bowlers. My mom's side of the family, they all bowl. So like I grew up in a bowling alley my whole life pretty much. My grandmother bowls like at least 5 leagues. At one point it was definitely 5 leagues. My mom, she keeps her
5?
leagues.
You
Yes.
said 5?
Yes. Her and my granddad had 5 leagues. They were always there. They never miss league. My mom bowls 2 leagues. So I was always with them, always bowling, and our whole family pretty much bowls in all those leagues. So I've been around bowling since I can remember. I've been bowling pretty much my whole life. So when I got to high school, found out they had a bowling team, of course I wanted to join. And as time went on, I met my personal trainer that I still work with to this day and is my mentor, Coach Marty Miller. So he's pretty much, he changed my game completely. He changed my whole outlook of bowling and showed me what I could really do with this game. So from there, I ended up meeting my head coach at Jackson State, Coach Boykins. And I was recruited on a full scholarship. And I went to Jackson State 2017, 2021. And after that, it's just the love for the game is there. I'm very passionate about this. And I didn't want to get away from bowling. So, after college, I tried to pursue my passion in communications, but I just couldn't get away from bowling. So I came back to be a graduate assistant, tried to work on my master's degree, and now I'm here as a head coach, something I've been dreaming of since I was in college.
Wow. Well, I tell you that's amazing. I'm still blown away. 5 leagues. I'm like I get a headache when I think about 5 fantasy football leagues. So I'm just like 5 bowling leagues. That's special. Go ahead, Kelvin.
So welcome to FAMU. I know
you.
it's a lot being a first time coach.
Yes.
And coming in when you came in and so forth. So just talk about, you have all this experience being in the bowling as a player, but now you're a head coach of a program and you're mentoring, leading other young ladies. So just kind of talk about, the things that prepared you for this opportunity, and then how are things going thus far? I think I saw where you had some tryouts or something coming up, and then how many girls are on the team? How the scholarships work? Just kind of educate us on the whole bowling scene.
So things have been going pretty good this far. Definitely, I'm fixing a lot of things, doing a lot, getting a lot of things ready for the girls. Right now, we have 6 girls. Scholarships are definitely plentiful in bowling. They're definitely there. Full rides are definitely available. So yeah, scholarships are definitely there. I feel like I've been preparing for this position pretty much since I was in high school. Like I've always been in leadership positions as a captain. I've always been the one to speak up and wanting to lead the team. I work hard at this. This is what I love to do. So been in a lot of different pressure situations, understanding how to work through them, failing at some things, but learning from it and coming back and starting over and giving it another shot. So training with my coach as well, Coach Miller, he's put me around some of the best bowlers around in my area and in the country. Working with them, learning from them, and just seeing what they're doing and how they're physically working on their game and mentally preparing themselves for every competition. And yeah, so pretty much I feel like I've been preparing for this position since I can remember. I've always been in a leadership position. I've always been in tough situations, pressure situations, and just been knowing how to deal with them, work with them. And now I'm ready to pass that on to the young ladies I have on my team now.
How do you feel about having a bowling alley on campus? And is that helpful? How do you like how our bowling alley is set up?
Absolutely, it's definitely helpful. I'm very excited to have a bowling alley. Like they can go bowl anytime they want. That's great. Like that's the best thing you can ask for. So the bowling alley is really nice. Got more lanes. It has 8 lanes. The house is very nice. We have a billiards room. It's really nice. So the girls, they come in and practice as much as they want. They can practice on their spares. We have a machine where you could just set up specific spares to shoot instead of shooting out a full rack. So, and then you could just shoot full racks. You don't have to shoot your spare. So we have a lot of different systems to help the girls practice. We're working on getting a new oil machine, to lay the girls' patterns. So Gallimore Lanes is definitely nice, and we're excited. Like that's great. We definitely have a facility to get ready for our competitions.
Go ahead, Marcus.
Well, thank you, Ms. Howard, for joining us this evening. I have a question, kind of follow up a little bit on what you just spoke on,
Mhm.
as I'm not 100% familiar. I mean, I'm familiar with the sport of bowling. I can't bowl, but in terms of comparing, with other sports, you mentioned that you have scholarships available, and could you elaborate on whether those are a head count or equivalency? But also, what is it like recruiting for bowling? Because I know, like for football or baseball or other sports, there's like pockets of the U.S. where you have maybe more developed
Mhm.
acumen as it relates to a specific sport. Typically, those sports where the weather's warmer during the season, during the majority of the year. So you have football in Florida, California, Texas, baseball, and those same sports. Basketball is kind of growing, but it had its roots. They have pockets in New York, Michigan, Chicago. Where is that for bowling, or is there such a thing for bowling, like a recruiting hotbed for bowling?
So I think it's pretty much everywhere, but I know for sure the Midwest is a hotbed.
Okay.
Detroit, Chicago, New York, Texas, and Orlando is also a hub. So I would pretty much say a little bit of everywhere, but I know for sure definitely in the Midwest and the East Coast.
Okay. Well, thank you. I did not realize that. All right. And in terms of the scholarships, you mentioned you had a team currently made up of 6. So
Yes.
is there a cap on how many players you can have, or is it more like an equivalency sport where you can split the scholarship as much as you can to accommodate you go as far as the money goes, and you would just split scholarships versus head count?
Okay. It is an equivalency sport. We could split scholarships amongst players. So I'm able to hold a roster as big as I want, but I prefer to keep it small. So right now I have 6, and I would like to pick up more, but 6 is fine. That's comfortable for me.
Okay. Oh, well, thank you very much.
Let me follow up, Coach, on the roster size. How many? Talk a little bit about the returners. How many new student athletes do you have for this season?
So we have no student athletes. No new student athletes. Everyone are returners.
Okay,
My returners, they're excited. They definitely have a passion for the game, and they definitely want to win. They're ready to work, and they're ready to fight through the conference championships again. So definitely excited to work with these new group of young ladies, and I'm excited to see where I could take them.
Yeah, that's good to hear, because obviously this is a squad that I believe finished 3rd in the SWAC tournament, and we saw them really make some good strides last year. Now, obviously, your experience in the conference, you've been there at the top. You know what it takes to get there. What is it that separates, the successful teams, from the others? What is there a formula? Is there something that you've seen, not only as a student athlete at Jackson State, but maybe just those other teams that are at the top? What is it that separates?
I would definitely say controlling the pocket and closing frames. As long as you can get to the pocket and close your frames and pick up what you leave, and stay consistent and keep fighting to the end, you have a good shot, I believe.
Now, does that come through just practice and reps? Explain that for those of us who are sort of novices. Like you just said something there, Coach, and I'm like, all I know is if I bowl 3 strikes, I get a turkey, and I know I got to keep that. So a lot of novices out here. So break that down for us.
Hey, Coach, before you answer that, I'm gonna make you get a little more technical.
Okay.
So while you're talking about that, you can go explain them about oil patterns and also Baker's matches versus Robin or whatever they call it. So kind of talk about just the bowling 101 in collegiate tournaments.
So when I say controlling the pocket, I mean constantly getting to the 1-3, getting to the pocket, constantly hitting your target, and having a consistent shot. Closing frames, I mean picking up your spare. So you hit the pocket, leave a spare, closing the frame, consistently picking up what you leave. Baker matches. So Baker matches consist of, you need 5 girls, so everyone gets 1 frame. So your first bowler bowls the first frame, second one gets the second, 5th bowler gets the 5th frame, and the 5th bowler gets the 10th frame as well. So everyone bowls 2 frames, and the 5th bowler gets the 10th frame, so they get extra shots. Also lane patterns. So there's different lane patterns every tournament. It's not a house shot. So it varies depending on, you have short patterns, you have long patterns, and each pattern has to be played on differently. And that means standing in different places, different targets, throwing a different ball. For some people, even just going about it like your approach differently. So lane patterns are pretty tricky. You have some short lane patterns, long ones. There's plenty of NCAA lane patterns out there that you bowl on. And so we also do team matches too. So the team matches, so Friday is usually Baker, and then Saturday we bowl individual games. So that's when everyone gets their own game. So that's still total pins, and we're collecting total pins for our score throughout the tournament. But that also gives the girls a chance for individual awards. So college bowling tournaments are 3 days. So start Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So it's a long weekend. It's a lot of bowling, but it's a fight to the end, and I love it. Definitely.
So, Coach, let me ask a follow up. When you have the team competitions, do they do like in track where, like in cross country, the lowest and the highest? The two lowest are thrown out, or do they count all six? What's the minimum that they count towards the team scores?
So bracket play usually starts on Sunday. So that's when you may bowl, like the number 1 seed may bowl the last seed. Or, it varies depending on the tournament, but that usually happens on Sunday. Friday and Saturday is usually total pins. So that's when you bowl Baker matches on Friday. So you bowl 5 sets of 5 Baker matches. So you bowl 1 set against the team, and you bowl 5 Baker matches. You move on to your next match. You bowl another team, another set of 5 Baker matches. So you do 5 of those on Friday. And then Saturday, you bowl 5 individual games. And that's all for total pins. So once we get our total pins, then we start the seeding for Sunday, and that's when we start bracket play. So elimination more so comes in championship time. So on that Saturday, so Friday is usually total pins where you bowl the individual games. And then Saturday is when you do Baker frames. And as time goes on from total pins, as matches goes on, if you lose twice, then you're eliminated.
Very good. You did a great job of explaining it to us laymen. Yes. I saw Brian's eyes getting glossy there.
No, but
my eyes too.
Look, it is. I say that, and I appreciate that, because one of the things that I found very frustrating is when we were watching, and I'm gonna take everybody back to watching the SWAC tournament back in the spring, trying to understand what was going on. And yes, it was great that it was on video, but there was no commentary, which I feel like in bowling, not only are there great stories for all these student athletes, right? Everybody has a story. It'd be good to get to know them, but just the intricacies of the sport deserved some airtime. And so I hope, through some kind of magic or some kind of way, that we can get some, when it gets time to SWAC tournament play, that folks can really be educated, and that's why I'm glad you said what you said, and we're gonna cut it up and be able to play it again, because I think it's real important for people to have an understanding, so that way they can really follow. A lot of us grow up on certain sports, but unless you're like yourself, you grew up in it, you grew up in bowling, so you learn the different patterns, and then you go play high school bowling and college, collegiate. But for a lot of people, they don't get that opportunity. So we, a lot of us enjoy the sport, but in terms of the intricacies of it that you broke down, that's big time, and it's and that's why I'm very eager to kind of learn more about it, and I know a lot of Rattlers who are watching sure will as well. Let me share the schedule, because I got it up here on the screen here, so that way we can people can see it. I'm gonna just show the message right there from off of the right there from off of the FAMU Athletics Twitter feed. The first match, or the first classic, is in October in New Orleans. You kind of mentioned that, and then it's interesting. The season goes from October all the way into March.
Yes.
And I see there you got a trip back home to Jackson. What's that going to be like, going back home?
Oh, that's going to be exciting. I've been to Jackson since
with orange and green on.
I've been to Jackson since my first homecoming as an alumni in 2021. So I'll be excited to be back. Definitely.
Yeah, and now are a lot of these tournaments against other HBCUs, or you'll get a good mix of other collegiate conferences, what we say the PWIs or historically white colleges and institutions?
So pretty much all of them are a good mix of PWIs and HBCUs, besides our SWAC West Roundup, SWAC East Roundup. Of course, those are SWAC play tournaments, and the TNBA HBCU Invitational. But other than that, pretty much all of them are a good mix of PWIs and HBCUs.
Okay. I'm going to have to, I see you guys are going to be right here in my backyard of Orlando. I'm going to have to, I got to see what weekend that is and see if I'm in Orlando. Might have to try to find a way to come catch
the 29th.
Yeah, the 27th through the 29th. So that's right there in Orlando. So I'm about to try my best to see what I can do to catch that. All right. Well, hey, Coach, I want to give you the last word. I want to give you, an opportunity to shout out anybody, let people know how they can follow. More importantly, how can they support your program? What do you need from Rattler Nation? I know you're probably still trying to figure it all out, but let people know how they can support and follow the program.
So we will be live streaming our tournament. So please follow us on FAMU Women's Bowling, and we'll be live streaming our tournaments. Our home tournament will be coming back to Tallahassee or near Tallahassee soon next year. So be on the lookout for that, so you could come to our home tournament and see us in action.
Nice. And when they come, a little suggestion here. So, and I know our sports information VP of Communications, Josh Padilla. I know he might be listening or watching. Hey, when they do those video segments, do some tutorials. Let's do some like little mini tutorials, mini bowling tutorials. I think those would go over big time. I think other than just hearing, the banter between the players, give us some tutorials. Because I think you're in one of those sports. It's a great opportunity to kind of educate people. And I think once you kind of educate us, man, I tell you, folks will be behind it tenfold. So just a suggestion,
Definitely. I remember that. We'll work on
it. All right. Hey, Coach, thank you for your time tonight.
Thank you, Coach.
Yeah, appreciate you. Good luck at the start of the season, and we'll be following along. So, anytime you have some news that you want to share, please feel free to let us know, and we'll definitely get that shared, and maybe even have you back or one of the student athletes on the team as well. Okay.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Yes, ma'am. All right. Thank you, Coach. Take care now.
Good night.
All right. That's again, Coach Capri Howard joining us. Time to hit up another break. So we'll take that short break, come back. I think we got Coach Riz that'll be joining us at the bottom of the hour. If not, we can get in. We got plenty of notes that we can talk about. Some comments and some things. A lot of stuff at the 220 Club today, boy. I tell you what. Woo! I tell you what, I thought I saw a little bit of sweat on the forehead of AD Sykes. Now she won't admit it because she's cool under pressure. She'll probably say, "Nope, I wasn't sweating." I don't know, boy. They were throwing heat. They were throwing heat into the questions today. But she's a pro, so we're gonna find out. We're gonna talk about all the good commentary and all the stuff that came out from the 220 Club today. And then get into some other stuff here in a moment. So hang in there with us, and we're going to take a short break. We'll be back right after these words. You're watching the ONG Strike Zone right here on the Black College Sports Network.
It's never too early to plant the seed, to share the tradition, and instill a sense of pride in your HBCU with your little ones. HBCU Pride and Joy Children's Boutique helps you share your school spirit with a wide selection of adorable kids apparel and accessories officially licensed from your favorite HBCU. Visit hbcupridejoy.com and follow us on all social media at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook and Twitter.
This is Brian Fulford. AD Drew and I are co-hosts of the BCSN Sports Wrap. We talk about all things related to HBCU athletics. From the games, teams, coaches, and fan interest stories, we cover it all. You can find our shows on Facebook at BCSN Sports Wrap, YouTube at MyJBN Online, and everywhere you listen to podcasts like Anchor, Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. You can also find the show on the Jericho Broadcast Network's app. Make sure to download. We look forward to you joining the conversation and being a part of the show.
I'm attorney Clinton Paris, and Tampa's my community. I grew up here, went to school here, and my wife and I make our home here. What makes Tampa special are its people. So when I represent someone injured in my community, it's personal. Call my office and speak to a real lawyer and not some referral service. I will fight the insurance companies to get the settlement that you deserve. At the law office of Clinton Paris, we take the pain out of being hurt.
Since 2002, Empowerment Resources, Inc., a nonprofit organization, has empowered more than 1,500 youth and adults in Duval and surrounding counties through its programs Journey into Womanhood, Girls Mentoring, Life Skills for Teens, and Parenting Education Coaching. To get involved with programs, volunteer, or donate, visit www.empowermentresourcesinc.org. Follow us on social media, facebook.com/empowerment.resources and instagram.com/empowermentJAX.
All right, welcome back to the O&G Strike Zone. Ryan, Kelvin, Marcus. Well, we'll be coming back here with Coach Riz. Should be joining us here shortly. Thought we'd get into a couple of news nuggets that I saw. Let me see. First off, we gotta bring this up. Hopefully, you guys saw the announcement today. Two of the first invitations for the 2024 HBCU Legacy Bowl. That's pretty much the senior HBCU All-Star Bowl / Combine. Included these two guys, probably the top two quarterbacks in HBCU football right now.
Ain't probably. They're the top two, and the top two teams, and the two most likely to go to the Celebration Bowl. So yeah, makes sense.
There might be put it like I'm trying to think. Seniors. Well, hold on. I had to clarify because seniors. This is a senior invitation kind of thing. So yes, among seniors, final year eligibility guys, these two guys are it.
They're the best. Period.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of
right now,
look at the SWAC.
From a stat standpoint, they're the best.
Okay. The only people I would say, there's a young man on and look, don't poo-poo it now. There's a young man on the Division II level in the SIC at Alum University who's doing the damn thing. But he's definitely not a senior. So that's why when I started it, I kind of caught myself and said, oh, wait a minute, he's not a senior. And I'm talking Mr. Wright over at Allen University. First name David Wright, I think is his name, first name. But yeah, he's having a heck of a year. But yeah, no doubt these two. So obviously, as more invitations go out, to guys over the course of the season, and there were some changes that were going to be made to the Legacy Bowl. Did you guys recall any of those changes? I know they were maybe going to change and it had to do with the All-State sponsorship. So we can maybe touch on it another time.
Yeah, we have to come back to that one.
Yeah, we'll come back to that one. All right, so let's kind of go through just a few of the talking points from today's 220 Club, which obviously a lot of stuff came out of that. And those of you who aren't familiar with the 220 Club, they have a weekly luncheon on Wednesdays that if you're following on social, or as a matter of fact, if you're on YouTube, if you search for Eddie Jackson is the chair president, I believe, of the 220 Club. A great storyteller, comedy show, always entertaining time watching this 220 Club. And so they will constantly have members from the athletic department, especially Coach Simmons is there. Seems like every Wednesday. They'll have the AD will pop in and out every now and then. Sometimes you'll see a Dr. Robinson sighting. Other what are you laughing for? There'll be other sightings as well. Other coaches will come in, and so it's a great fundraising organization group. What's their membership, Kelvin? Please don't tell me it's just 220 people.
No.
I'm not sure. I don't want to. It's honestly, it's like some people like to play bridge. Some of the seasoned folks.
Oh, in the back,
So
they're playing
it's their
bridge?
weekly. Yeah, it's their weekly meetup.
Chance to
And very very long time. You got former administrators, pillars of the community, folks who worked on campus, and long time supporters. Those folks do a lot for the program. But I would say in terms of attendance, it's probably about 60 of them that are there a week. Now, but then there's those that are paying that can attend too.
Mm-hmm. And what I think is interesting is these folks get information, obviously, from the people. They'll have the booster president come in and he'll give the athletic update. So these folks, I don't know that all of them are on social media 7 days a week like us. We are following stuff all the time, and a lot of you are watching our show. You are following information all the time. A lot of these folks probably aren't. So this is keep up. I'm not trying to say anything. I'm just saying.
Oh, I know, but it's true. I mean, there's a digital divide by demographic.
Like my father, if he were living, and he lives in Atlanta, but if there was a Norfolk State 220 type club, he might go. I mean, but it'd be around people, his peers, and his age group. And my dad is not on social media. Heck, he's like X. What is X? I don't want to get trouble. What the hell is X? I mean,
neither is mine.
Exactly. So that's just how it is. So they're not keeping up with things going on like us. Okay, so they get their information from the people right there. They get it from the AD, straight from the horse's mouth. They get it right there from the president. They get it from the boosters. They get it from whomever else is there. So that's the unique thing about these weekly get-togethers. And I love the fact you used to just hear about him. Now it's kind of great that probably with
they're
the
embracing technology.
Vaughn is kind of
they got Vaughn on the job, and then the boosters are doing something similar with Keith. So they realize their value in having a media to present what's going on. So
yeah, I think
that's a good thing.
Sam says what, $20 get you in every Wednesday. Is that what it is? That's not a bad deal. That is not bad. That's probably a nice little fundraising too. I would pay 20. I would do that. You'd probably get a good meal too. Man, shoot. I'm looking for a spot. Y'all, someone know a spot where someone in their 40s can go and do. Anyway, so look, they some of the talking points that came up, obviously, Dr. Robinson recognized as the most valuable president, a plaque that they awarded him. And then I'm gonna be nice. I was curious about how I was gonna do this. Dr. Robinson was recognized by the FAMU Athletic Sports Hall of Fame committee chairman Marvin Green. Now, Marvin and the committee which includes Alvin Hollins. They had a great weekend celebrating the Hall of Fame class of 2023. They came to the 220 club with and I wish I would have clipped what the saying was, but they came with I'm gonna call it a proclamation, or more so a recommendation, a nomination that Dr. Robinson be included into the class of 2024. Now, a lot of things that were mentioned were his getting FAMU out of last year's situation and last year's mess, hiring an athletic director and hiring the compliance people and doing some of the things that that have occurred over the last several months. So to what it was brought to my attention that every, well, maybe with the exception of one, I think is what I was told, every president at Florida A&M University has been or is a member of the FAMU Sports Hall of Fame. And some of them, as it was even said to me, have done a lot less than Dr. Robinson. You know, we talk about things that sometimes he hasn't done. Well, there are people who have done absolutely nothing for athletics. I'm not going to call any names. Y'all know who they are. So what he has done, you know, obviously in celebrating the accomplishments most recently of FAMU being a top 100 institution.
Spending too much time on this.
I am. But anyway.
More time than it deserves.
It's more time. Look, this was me being nice because I was going to give somebody the belt, but I'm not. I'm just going to move on. So that's me saying congratulations. Anything you want to add, or can we officially move on?
No, keep it moving.
Okay. Willie Simmons came and spoke as well at the 220 Club. And so I think if you've heard Coach talk at anywhere recently over the past few days, he didn't say anything new. Did you catch anything on the injury front that he may have shared?
Yeah, about the offensive line. You mentioned that we started off with 19. We talked about 19, 20 offensive linemen, and right now we're kind of down to 12. And you know, I started offensive tackle. Both of them been in and out, but I think one of them really hadn't hardly played any downs. I'm talking about Goss.
Okay,
and so we've got some injuries up front, but we got some depth, and we're gonna see. And I think that's part of what he attributed part of our issues with running the ball with, you know, the changing lineups at the offensive line and so forth, and getting them to play as one unit. It's kind of tough. You don't have the same lineup from game to game, not even the same lineup within a game. You know, he talked about we had a lot of guys to go down. He even Ditson went down this game and probably won't make the Valley trip. But we did get the guy he replaced back. So you know, we luckily we have depth, we have experience, and you know, but we've played 4 tough games, very physical. He also talked about that.
All right. Okay. And then VP Sykes made an appearance. Now, obviously, she was not available last Wednesday. So this was her first meeting before the 220 Club, obviously with a couple of home games under her belt. Okay.
Did you say belt?
I just wanted to see how long. I just wondered.
Pun intended.
I just wanted to see how long that was going to sit there, and before somebody jumped on the opportunity.
Oh no! I ain't gonna let you throw that softball and not hit it.
So yeah, she did come on up, and so one of the first things she did mention, obviously, those of you, hopefully, you guys caught that just the other day. Our men and women's basketball team started their season, started their practices.
Oh yes,
yeah, some great visuals.
Speaking of which, I was trying to. I don't know if the roster's been updated, but I saw different numbers that weren't listed there. I was trying to put names or faces.
Yeah, I got to ask Josh about the practice jerseys are completely different than player numbers. So and who knows if they even care. But yeah, it'd be nice to. It's hard to kind of figure out who's who when you don't really know the players. And so when we see the pictures and we see, you know, like for example, I'll show you one. I didn't get them all loaded up, but you know, here's a young lady right here.
I think that's Sydney Hendricks, our freshman signee.
Okay.
I was trying to guess at the pictures, but I think I saw her. I think I saw a couple of our transfers. I think no, I don't know if you have all the pictures. I think number 30 is Olivia Delancey. I think number 23, who was in the video, I think that's gosh, I can't remember her name, but she came from Middle Tennessee State. She transferred in. And there's another young lady, number 3, that I don't recognize either as a returnee or a transfer. So I don't know if she's a late transfer or a walk-on. Now that's Ariana Grizzle. She's a returnee from last year.
Okay, that's
And I
big.
think that's Sydney Hendricks from Michigan. And I'm just trying to match up names and faces from images on that. I don't know. That looks like Aliyah Ellis, but the jersey number is different. She was number 44 last year. So I don't know if that's her or not, but it kind of looks like her, but I'm not sure. And the number 3 I was talking about was the one that's standing next to her in that previous picture. Number 0, she's a returnee from last year. I think she came in from Daytona State. Perona, I can't remember. Starts with the P. I have to look at the roster. I have to pull it up.
Yeah.
But I was trying to put names or faces, but there's some returnees that pop up, and then there's some new faces, and I was trying to match up the new faces with their images on their social media to kind of figure out who's who. But the one that threw me off was at number 31. It looks like Aliyah Ellis, who's like I think a junior. She's from Texas, but her number was 44 listed on the roster. And then there's a couple other numbers that aren't listed, so I was trying to match them all up.
Yeah, and then the men also they started their season, started practicing as well. So pretty much the other day was the first day from all across the country for men and women's college basketball to start. If you're following FAMU athletics, actually, I kind of took the multitude of photos that were available on Instagram, which there are more photos on Instagram, and just kind of made a photo collage of those photos. But there's just some of the photos there. Coach McCullum out there getting some practice rep in with the guys. So good stuff there. Make sure you're following at FAMU Athletics, and then that way you can see some of those images. But the talking point that came out of that, of course, we're all familiar with FAMU men playing that home game on November 20th against Oregon. A return for us traveling to Oregon last year. That's all part of that SWAC Pac-12 partnership. Well, it was announced that the women who traveled to California and played the University of California last year, California is coming to Lawson this year. And so we'll have a Pac-12 versus FAMU doubleheader on November 20th in the Lawson Center. So FAMU women versus Cal, and then the FAMU men will take on Oregon. So I thought that was a great opportunity. So more incentive for us to build. I mean, we got to have 5,000 to 6,000. I mean, we got a 10,000 seat arena. We got to have 5 to 6 there, do we not, fellas?
Gonna have to work it though, man. It's more than just saying we got to have that. I'm interested to see, what the season ticket package is gonna look like and the pricing of that, and then how much effort and advertisement and everything that's gonna go marketing is gonna go into it over the next 3-4 weeks. Because you got to start that early. Because that will be going into that'll be after the Florida Classic.
Yes, that's
going into Thanksgiving. So I love the idea. I just hope that we price it right and that I hope we're looking for volume, meaning that we're trying to get butts in seats and not trying to make a huge profit off that thing. Because I don't know how successful we'll be given the time frame and everything if we price it too high.
And look, that's also Thanksgiving week. I know, like, I'm off that whole week of school. Hopefully, we don't have any kind of hurricanes or nothing that cause me to have to come to school. But I'm thinking, man, I could actually make it to Tallahassee because I don't have school that week. And there may be other schools in Tallahassee that have similar calendars, it'd be great to reach out to our community through these schools, through these basketball programs, the high school boys and girls programs around Tallahassee. Come to the
Great.
Lawson Center, November 20th. I mean, this should be a big deal. This should be so. Like you said, Kelvin, it's going to be a tough job for our marketing team. But you know what? I would even go so far as to say, you know what I would do? I would go reach out to Dr. Friday Stroud and say, hey, you have some interns or some students, not interns, but students, marketing students. We need their help. Marketing and promoting this opening season game. Some ideas, because our staff is sort of stretched thin.
Yeah, focused on football.
Yeah, well, I mean, but you can't really say that. But yeah, you're right. That's what they're focused on, majority. But it'd be nice to be able to get some help. So I don't know where you can get that, but they need to get it. Yeah. All right. So that was announced. Be looking out for tickets to that. If you haven't, I don't think they've started selling any tickets yet for basketball games. I do know, although we haven't seen the women's schedule come out, I did a quick little search, and let me see if my search pops back up the way it did earlier. Because I went to the women's schedule, and just by the nature of other teams, yeah, here are some of the teams that FAMU has on the schedule, or that we are playing this year. FAMU's women, obviously Tennessee, traveling to Tennessee on November 7th. On November 9th, they will travel over to Middle Tennessee. December 3rd, they're traveling in Houston. They're playing Houston, the Houston Cougars. December 21st, they're traveling to Detroit, taking on Detroit Mercy. And then the next day, they play Michigan on December 22nd. December 29th, they're in Jacksonville, taking on North Florida. So right now, those are 6 games, all road, non-conference, that we know about just by the nature of the other teams posting their schedule. So we're still waiting on FAMU athletics to release the rest of the women's schedule. But the men have, I believe, 3 home games, including the Oregon game. Just want to drop that. Okay. If you saw the story from Rattler Blog Nation or Rattler Nation blog spot, they made mention of the fact that homecoming tickets are practically they are sold out. According to Ticketmaster, they're sold out. They are no longer available on Ticketmaster. And so VP Sykes said at the 220 Club today that only a handful of tickets, she was very emphatic about the word handful, are available for homecoming. And she said those actual seats are reserved and premium seating seats. What sections are those, Kelvin? Where are the reserved and premium seating?
Session D, I think it is, that has the chairbacks.
Okay. Midfield on the press box
West side.
Yeah. Okay. All right. And so she said that you had to buy those. You had to get to the FAMU ticket office to purchase those tickets. All right. So I saw somewhere that tickets on the secondary market are already selling. I saw someone say in a ballpark of $200 already on the secondary market. So, I guess those of you who have multiple tickets from your Investing in Champions package, you might be able to make a few bucks, sounds like. Yes, sweet. Yes, she was there today. She was there. Yes, she was. Okay. Some other interesting notes from the appearance. In mentioning about the north end zone, she kind of had to answer some questions from folks about the north end zone and the gate on the north end zone. She did remind or let people know that that area is managed by the University Foundation, Dr. Friday Stroud. She said athletics does receive a profit, but they don't manage any of the logistics with that area. And the north end zone, didn't open that gate until 45 minutes before the first game, which sort of helped create issues along with all the other stuff. They did change it to an hour before kickoff for this past Saturday. Now, all of the other gates are open 2 hours, but apparently that north end zone gate is the one that right now they're only opening an hour. So anything you want to add in there, Kelvin or Marcus?
Well, I have a question. Why is the north end zone managed by the foundation?
So
we'll turn to. Hold on, let me turn the other way. We'll turn to Kelvin and say, Kelvin.
So I project the reason for this. Foundation has funds available to invest up front for the setup, and they secure some of the sponsorships like the drink sponsorship and supplement staff and so forth. I believe that was the easier way of doing it. So, I talked about last week in part of my rant about different people got different parts of it, but Athletic has had it before. The foundation has had it, I think, for the last 5-6 years at least now. But I think it just they have more flexibility with the foundation, and they have funds available in the foundation. It's a double-edged sword in my opinion, but that's kind of the gist of it.
Here's a question from B Starks.
And as far as opening an hour, early, I mean the gates previous game I don't think were open 2 hours early. But essentially I get it. Why if I'm the foundation, why I wouldn't open that early? First of all, you got to staff it. That's more money. Then it's food and drinks there, and that's more money. And you don't want to get folks started too early and so forth and run out when everybody get there. So it's a science to doing things like that. And so I think it's a kind of smart idea not to open it no more than an hour before.
B Starks asks, why do people camp out at the north end zone? People do not go to their seats and let others sit down.
Because they can. Because it's food and drinks there.
Is there not enough seating for everybody?
No, all those folks have tickets. All those folks have seats that they can go to.
But you can't take.
But some folks like us, we go because we love rally football. We there to cheer and we like the game day atmosphere, and we want to coach up in the press box and in the stands and stuff. There's a segment of folks who like to wine and dine and just be in the atmosphere and be seen. So that caters to that crowd, as well as some folks don't want to go up and down those stands and so forth, even though they're more 88 friendly now. So you got a lot of senior folks. They go to eating and drinking. The itis kick in, man. They got that itis. and I don't know what kind of drinks, adult beverages they have. Though, either one, two of those, they got to take their nap. So,
all right. Let's move forward to another talking point there. Okay, so we showed you the pictures last week, and I'm gonna see if we still have them. I think we do. Okay, we showed you the pictures, the controversial area that was that folks weren't permitted to tailgate at. Okay. So 80 Sykes did explain, or gave a little more explanation, I should say, as to why that area. Now, to my knowledge, this is the first time, this is breaking news when this happened at the 220 Club. It might have been the first time that this was publicly told. It might have been the first time that people like our good friend, Mr. Hankerson, was actually informed of the why. So according to 80 Sykes, VP Sykes, she said that the senior leadership team did a site visit in early August. We remember that one, Kelvin, right? We heard about that. That senior, that visit where they did a tour around. And so now you tell me if this organization is correct, Kelvin, because it seemed like she was a little unsure. The University Property Planning and Construction, is that the name of the group, or
basically
you know
she sounded like she was trying to put it on facilities planning and construction.
Okay, maybe that's the name of it officially.
Yeah.
They said that, so according to her, she said they had determined that since the road at the bottom of the grass hill had been created, it was no longer safe for tailgate. So if you see on the hill, there is a road. Let me see if you can see it. You can't really see it because where this photo was taken, we're in the area, but if you look right above the crest of the hill where the cars are, there is a road. That road leads.
I mean, it's a drive. I mean, it's a driveway. It's not really a road. And it was there last year. It was there 20 years ago.
Well, and that's what was sort of interesting. I don't know if it's because it was paved. Was it paved better?
Yes, it was paved.
Was it paved? Was it paved?
It's pretty much, that's the one area of the parking lot that really didn't change significantly. You know.
Okay, I thought so. I thought so.
Yeah.
I thought so. Now,
other than getting repaved, that's pretty much all that was done with that strip.
Yeah, so apparently that's the group that said this area was safe. Now, when that came out, I my immediate thought, and others who were watching were like, so that area, because we too thought that there had been a road or at least some paved strip of land there before, that you mean to say that now all of a sudden this area is unsafe, although people have been tailgating.
So let me hey, you know, I call it like I see it. So the only thing different right now was that the parking garage has been there, the new poking horn has been there. You know, that driveway has always been there. You came into the stadium if you were coming off Perry Street through the poking horn way. The only thing was they extended the driveway from the parking garage to the stadium. That's the only difference. They put a retention pond up there for stormwater drain runoff. So the area up there where the stormwater runoff is not available for tailgating because that's there. I believe there was a loss in translation of communication between the different leadership groups, and they didn't visually see what they were talking about. And I think they might have been talking about one side of the hill and then the lower level where some parts were removed, and it got kind of, the communication when they weren't on the same page.
There's
and
the road.
Therefore
there's the road right there.
A decision not only was it a lack of communication, but a decision was made that you can't really defend, right? There's no, it's just grass. There's no safety issue there. At that particular location of the hill, there's no safety issue. At the end of the day. So that's what you remember in my rant, I said, don't just say anything to people. Because we ain't buying it. We ain't buying it.
Now that she's put that department on blast, I guess someone should follow up with the head of that department, property planning and construction, which I don't think that's the real name of it. But anyway, whoever whoever's in charge of that, maybe they should.
Well, perhaps they might have been a part of the folks who tailgate on that hill.
Maybe, I don't know. Who knows?
I do.
I know you do. I'm just saying. So
that's what I'm saying, man. Tell the truth and own it. Don't put it on. Don't put it on nobody else.
I'm just.
I know people told him not to make that decision.
Well, some been nice if someone would have listened to everybody. But anyway, I'm just sharing information. So
yeah,
that's all I'm doing. So of course she did make sure to note that she did admit that the communication that everyone could have done a better job of communicating, and that they did create the Patty Foot space for free for people to reserve. Now she did say
just for that game.
Exactly, because she did say going forward at homecoming and the last home game that they are going to be charging. They're going to release some pricing, which she says will be competitive, to other tailgate areas at other schools in the SWAC and within the state of Florida. So that's what's coming. So be ready for that. Okay. She also addressed the issue of the security team. Now, she didn't mention them by name. She mentioned the security company, Rhino Security, and that she said that they were paid to provide security and WAN people. She said they were paid well over six figures. There was
that part caught my attention.
There was a contract which began in August of 2021 that goes through 2024. And in that contract, she says is to provide 110. She was real specific about these numbers, 110 to 120 people. Okay. Now, she was not notified that they would not have enough people, and that she didn't actually find out that these long lines were happening until about mid-first quarter. And so once she was made aware of that, that's when, in her words, she says she dispatched every available intern, ROTC, anyone she could find, which kind of goes to, if you go back to images that we had, this line right here was taken at what time were we up there? We were up there
about 5:30.
Yeah, we were up there about 5:30. So these photos of the long lines were there, and they were still there when kickoff occurred. We noted that. And those of you who were a part of it, and we're sorry to bring up the tragic memory of that. So that was discussed. Now, she did say when she had her meeting the following day or following Monday, last Monday would have been, that she was told that only 55 people showed up from that company, 55 of the 110 that were supposed to be there. She says she enlisted the ROTC, paying them another $10,000 per week to make sure that they have a contingency plan in the future. So there's an upcoming meeting that she will be having with Rhino Security regarding that. Kelvin, thoughts, comments?
I am a licensed security person, in the state of Florida. In the state of Florida, you have to have a license to be. And I ran, of course, game operations as administrator, as well as a security personnel in every stadium in the South, pretty much, and in every kind of event. What I would tell you in this market specifically, that staffing shortage on game day is real. You're dealing with a lot of students, a lot of temp type folks, and they may or may not show up on game day. I would tell you, as someone who, for the last 3 years up until this year, was across them tracks on game day, I don't remember a game that we reached the number that was supposed to be there, and that's with bringing people in from on buses from other cities, Atlanta, Tampa, even Oxford, Mississippi.
Wow.
You still don't hit those numbers. So
wow.
So that's a real thing.
Okay. That's interesting. That's interesting.
In this market, it's very real.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
A lot of planning that goes into that, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Be a lot of job opportunities for students, though. I mean, or do you want students to handle that job? Do you? I mean, in terms of like in terms of
I
the
mean,
company
students are no better, and then they're not trained and certified. Why would you put students in the line of fire to deal with some of our fans, especially our seasoned Saints, man? You know the kind of venom they spitting on game day, man. They'll make them kids go hide, man. That's a horrible idea. That's a horrible idea.
I meant
You get professionals, you pay them. Now the amount that she mentioned, I'm going to assume is not just football. I'm assuming that includes basketball and whatever other sports they cover. And I know it includes parking as well as securing parking lots as well as security. But that 6 figures, it did make me stand up there because that's a big number if it's just football.
Yeah, that's an interesting number. Interesting number. Okay, another bullet point from out of her conversation or the meeting with the 220 Club. And we had this sort of side conversation about the Marching 100 and road games. The Marching 100, she thinks, and this isn't confirmed, I guess we'd have to get it from Dr. Shipman, thinks that they are going to Texas Southern. But unfortunately will not be going to Southern University. Of course, the next 3 road trips for FAMU, obviously this weekend, Mississippi Valley, next weekend at Southern, and then 2 weeks after that, they travel to Houston to take on Texas Southern. So the band is not going to Southern. And we don't know. I mean, that's a larger discussion for maybe another time about band traveling. I was trying to get someone on to talk about that. So maybe if I can get that guest, we can have that discussion about the band traveling to road games. But yes, it'd be nice. We're working.
Wait a minute, Brian. Let me just say this. We didn't travel to Tampa. So and that's with them chipping in if the band did travel. So I mean, it is what it is. I know they have some tradition about if a band don't come or return a trip, then they don't go, and there's a gentleman's agreement. But even if we don't fund right now, we don't fund it where we can travel to every game anyway. So I know that Texas Southern game because I brought my tickets about a week ago. Is close to a sellout. We haven't been in our market in a while. Even though the band was there the last 2 years with the Battle of the Bands, they were in that market. But
yes, exactly.
So I thought they were going to I thought it was going to Alabama A&M, and not Texas Southern. But maybe there's more.
Look, the whole tit for tat of you come to us, we can look. Southern had a band member die last year. I believe he died, I hate to say it, on the weekend or the beginning of the week.
Yeah.
So
they
had I think they were scheduled to come to Tallahassee.
Well,
but when
Brian, real quick, and then I'll be quiet. Our band traveled to support our team and to build a spirit with our fan base. I just don't buy into that whole mentality. They got to return a trip. I don't give a damn if another band ever come to Bragg. Now, it's nice when they do come. I appreciate it. Don't get me wrong. But in terms of us traveling, whenever our band do travel, it's about our team and our fans.
But they're not traveling, Kelvin. That's the point I'm getting at. They're not traveling.
I got you.
They didn't travel to Tampa. They're not traveling to Mississippi Valley. They're not traveling to Southern. Where else are they not traveling to? That's all I'm saying is that.
Yeah, that's right. They made a good point. That was Grambling where the guy died.
Oh, okay.
So Southern it was a fun. They had to make a business decision too, just like we do. you know, they had went to the boombox and they had been traveling a lot, so they had to miss a game, and they chose that one.
But you know, we talk about traveling a lot. Our football team travels a lot. Our football team is about to go on the road 3 of the next 4 weeks. Now, I get that the band is 3 times the size of the football traveling team. I get that. But still, we're talking student athletes. One group of student athletes should not be any less than another. And if they are going
Money,
on the
hey Brian, this is gonna be a bigger discussion than it needs to be, but it comes down to funds. It ain't philosophy in this case. At the end of the day, you got to fund 2 nights, all them buses per diem. It's expensive to move that band. That's the bottom line.
All right. Well said. All right. All right. I got some audio clip here. Moving forward to the last point, because one of the things, now we put out the poll. Obviously, one of the things that was missing from the game day experience was what, Marcus, Kelvin?
The cannon, the kaboom.
The cannon, the boom. We scored touchdowns. We hear the boom, right? And so I'm going to play for you the clip from AD Sykes where she talks about what all went down and what happened there. We'll play this here. Let's see. Hopefully this will all work out here where you can hear it. Let's see. I'm gonna share this right off of the Twitter feed.
Okay. Do I need to turn my volume down?
Maybe.
I started getting emails about people saying they really just did not like the cannon. And so I had, over the course of months, an overwhelming number of people who just said that they were impacted in some way by the cannon. So I made the decision to not engage the cannon. I have since people noticed there was no cannon, people have asked about it, but I still have not had more people ask about it than I had advocate against it yet. So I'm not saying it's completely off the table, but that's why we have not started the season with the cannon.
A lot of discussion in the room.
They'll start a war about the cannon. All right, we're gonna let the 220 Club take a poll, Eddie, about the cannon, and we'll get the results back to AD Sykes, and it should be able to make an informed decision. So,
Hey, Brian, let me jump in on this one real quick.
Oh, please.
This was one of those moments where I thought about doing a belt session today. Let me tell you something. You can't poo-poo on our tradition. The cannon has been there since I was a little boy, and I'm 52 years old, right? So if I don't care, first of all, these anonymous people who may or may not have been coming to the game all these years, I don't care if it's 2 or 5 or 10. That ain't the way you do away with tradition. Come in, keep everything the way it is, communicate that you considering a decision, and then before you make that decision, vet it. But I mean, just to say you got 2 emails. Who said them emails from legitimate rattlers? You know what I'm saying? I mean, man, I just got so much problem with that the process of making that decision. I got a couple of emails, so I'm not gonna do it. A tradition that's been going on for 50 years or plus. I don't know how long it's been going on, to be honest. That's too cavalier for me when you're talking about tradition. So, you didn't put no names with it. No. All right, put some names with it.
Hey,
all right, let them stand up for it. Hopefully we had a cannon.
We asked people, did they miss the cannon, right? 75% of the people we polled said they missed it.
It's tradition. I mean, you're just used to it. And it's still, and just like everybody else, it still got me, even though I know it's coming. I'm still looking like, oh, here comes Cannon. But
Man, we can't be
over
knocking
the
off our
years,
220 club members.
yeah, but over the years, they've downsized the cannon, right? So the last couple of years, it was a smaller cannon, which actually used less ammunition and stuff, and they can go to even a smaller size cannon. So I mean, come on, man. That was makes us different, man. That was makes us special. You ain't finna. Who's that? You don't go to Tampa Bay at a home game and tell them they ain't gonna shoot the cannon when they score off the pirate ship. Come on, man. What are we doing?
Now I know
it's part of the game day atmosphere. It's fun.
Yeah.
Stop, man. Don't bring that Sadida Howard mess here. This is the South. We like tailgating and we like the cannon. We like the kaboom.
Well, you ain't got none of those two no more. No more tailgating. No more tailgating. No more.
As you can tell, I feel a certain way about that cannon.
I do. You do. I can tell. Marcus, go ahead. What did you want to add in there?
Oh no, I was just gonna say, yeah, I it's kind of hard. I know there was an article a couple of years ago about they had cut back on the cannon firing just because of that cost and ammunition they're running. I don't know if that was during COVID or what. But I mean, I guess a common theme, and it's more probably growing pains on everybody's part, especially VP80 sites, is like, make an executive decision, but you're making decisions about things that people care about. And so, unfortunately, she's growing and growing on the run, or at least on the hot seat with some of these decisions that she's made, being in a position to make them, but it may not be the right decision. And the other thing is, even with the cannon, I mean, I know it goes away, or I'm not going. It went away for the first game, and even though it's not the same, we got a big scoreboard with speakers.
Ooh.
It won't be the same, but I mean, you could just as easily, put something up there, crank the volume up, boom, But
I agree.
in terms of so it's a very easy solution. It might not be the same, but at least you have the same thing. At least it's a proxy for it. But in terms of the decision and the communication, that's the common theme between that and the tailgating and everything else. It was just poorly communicated at the last minute. And I don't know if the expectation was that people just didn't care enough not to say something, but that was a wrong assumption. So it comes down to how the decisions were made and how it's communicated more so perhaps than even the things that were done. Right. It's like Earl Hankerson said, if you told me a month ago about tailgating, I would have been pissed. I would have had to adjust, but I had time to adjust instead of day of the first home game. It's something that's been going on for 2 decades, 5 decades, is no longer there without any reasonable warning, expectation of it being gone and no warning or any discussion about it.
It makes you, again, you go back to say, who are these people that were flooding your inbox on your first week on the job?
No, Brian.
And hold on, but let me go to a bigger question. What email did they find? Because let me go back and look. The doggone, hold on, staff directory. Let me go and look for myself because maybe it's on here now.
No, Brian, I was just going to say, Brian, I don't know if you've seen that meme with Tommy Davidson. I think he was with the Breakfast Club. The way you started out, he's like, who are these? That's what it sounded like.
Because look, we can go right here. FAMU Athletic. I'm wondering what email address they got because I don't see a public one. Maybe they send them all to Michael Smith. He's number 2, and maybe he's the one who had to forward them to whatever email she used. Marcus Grant wasn't there in January. Breon Higgins wasn't there. Brittany Johnson wasn't there. Markel Broussard wasn't there. Who do these emails? Who they come from? Who sent them?
Hey, Brian. As far as I can tell, I didn't know she answered emails anyway.
I mean,
I know I ain't got one that been answered.
If you
blue.
I know someone who had to hunt down a phone number and had to in order to get a conversation with her. So I mean, look, I'm just curious. What are we doing? Why does everything at FAMU have
got to
to
be consistent?
Why does
You
everything
can't have
at FAMU?
you got to respond to everybody. I agree.
Why does
Gotta
everything
be
at
consistent.
FAMU have to seem like a mystery? That it takes you 5 layers to uncover what's going on. Everything seems like a doggone mystery at FAMU. You know, we just need to. Where's the mystery time machine? What was it that Scooby and the kids had? Maybe we need to get a van for our show, and we just ride around with we're a mystery team trying to solve all these issues and figure out, because everything's a mystery. We'll be the mystery team. Got to solve issues and figure out what's going on at FAMU, because there's never no clear communication. There's never no direct responses from anybody. We got to drive the mystery machine to figure out how to resolve the issue. Let's just give some money. Ooh, don't say that, can you? Yep. And then take a shot. If you say the word self-inflicted, take a shot. That's the new buzzword now. That's the new bingo card. Anytime you got to say self-inflicted, take a shot. Man, come on, man. What are we doing?
Yeah, to Demetrius' point, that's what I was saying. You can't be getting the cannon and killing off our 220 club people.
Well, look,
those folks been hitting that cannon every year for the last 50 years. And they ain't stopped. And they ain't stopped them yet. No, it ain't that easy. You got to come better than that.
I empathize with those people. I do, but you know, what about the older generation? The older 20 years ago, there were still older folks that still were at the game, and they dealt with the cannon. I mean,
well, we don't know. Maybe
we scored.
Maybe
Hey,
the
we
previous
scored a lot.
80s ignored it.
We scored a lot more 20 years ago. We scored a lot more touchdowns 20, 30 years ago.
Yeah, I remember in the Billy Joe days, we'll run out of gunpowder.
Hey, we ran out of gunpowder. People's arms are tired from doing push-ups. Man, what are you talking about? It was, shoot. They ought to be happy these days. They're like, oh, we got to fire this thing off, but about maybe 3 times a game, we'll be okay. So.
Some people complain about everything. They take out the fun. And they take the fun out of stuff. We got to be careful. We got a great game day atmosphere. Let's not take the fun out of our game day atmosphere.
Right. All right. I'm done, Dimitri. I'm gonna move on. I'm no more long-winded rants. I'm done. I said what I said. It's over. Okay. So I believe that was all the major talking points from the appearance. I will applaud VP Sykes for standing up there, taking the bullets. Did a good job. She Marcus doesn't agree, but I thought she stood up there with a little bit of grace. And not you, Marcus, but our other Marcus.
Marcus in the chat.
Yeah, So, but anyway, I thought she stood up there, and like I said, she's cool under fire. I don't think I saw one bead of sweat. But we'll be all right. We'll move forward. Everybody, we'll look forward to another episode of the 220 Club next Wednesday. Also next Wednesday, SWAC Men and Women's Media Days are happening. So we'll get a chance to hear from
basketball, right?
For basketball.
Yes, basketball media days. SWAC basketball media days are next Wednesday. So by the time we do our show, we'll get a chance to hear comments from Coach McCullum as well as Coach Gordon on the team. We're still reaching out to Coach Gordon. Hopefully we can get Coach Gordon on the show. We might get Coach Mack on the show as well, just to kind of get a feel for his thoughts on the preseason work. And so be looking out for those schedule releases for the women's team. Marcus, I know we got some recruiting stuff. I know we don't have Coach Riz tonight, but I know you put some
he's
stuff.
Traveling.
Okay, so you put some stuff in the on the slides, a couple things that we want to go for. You want me to show those and go through that?
Yes, please. It'll be real
all right.
quick.
There we go.
All right. We got a commitment today, I guess around midday. Keon Brown, a wide receiver, Tallahassee native from Rickards, 4-star wide receiver. Originally signed with Oklahoma in the early signing period last December of 22. And around May of this year, it was discovered or revealed that he would be enrolling at Garden City Community College in Kansas and did not play for Oklahoma. And we did see about a month ago that he received a re-offer from FAMU, and today he decided to accept that offer by verbally committing. And just tied in with that, I mean, we have a lot, as we've noted, we have a senior laden team.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a lot of young talent, but we have there's a few seniors that'll be leaving the wide receiver corps. So if you think about Marcus Riley, whom I'm assuming has 1 year of eligibility left this year. Same with K-Dot. You have David Manigo. You have Chris. I don't remember Chris's last name, but Chris Sanders. Yes, you have Nick Dixon. So that's at least 5 or 6 wide receivers who are seniors or using their last year of eligibility. Yeah, last year of eligibility. Darian Oxendine. And so from the transfer route, I think Coach Simmons and Coach Riz have done a good job of replenishing some of the core, where we're going to have major drop off as it relates to the numbers based on COVID seniors. And so we have at least there'll be a redshirt freshman, Keon Brown. We'll have a redshirt sophomore in Quan Lee, who came from UCF. We'll have I think there's another young man, Chris, the young man from University of Utah. He's young as well.
As well as Gassett.
He's only Jamari Gassett. Yeah, I think he'll be a junior next year.
Right.
So we're replenishing through the transfer portal to stock up, in addition to, I guess the 1 or 2 that we may have signed, but having folks come in young. And we'll also, I guess, will be a redshirt sophomore, a young man from Rains High School. And so we'll have a young receiver core untested. They will not have had much game experience, but they're doing a good job through the portal of getting young talent transferring in.
All right.
So this will be another addition to that.
Okay, let me interrupt here because we got Coach Riz. He's taking a second on his busy schedule. Let me bring him in. Coach Riz, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing fine. I won't complain. I'm landed in Jackson. My flight was delayed, and I'm missing my luggage.
Oh man.
You in Jackson, Mississippi?
I'm in Jackson, Mississippi with the Rattler sweatsuit on, and it looks
it's
like
a fits. Yep. They still mad.
Man, look, they look like they want to cut me.
Oh man, Coach, man. Well, I hope this was the only stop, or did you have a previous stop prior to you getting to Jackson?
Yeah, I had to stop in Dallas, and the flight that I was scheduled to be on, it kept getting delayed, and it's still delayed now. And I changed my flight, and so my bag won't come in tonight.
Oh man. All right. Well, hopefully. And so what? You're just gonna travel from Jackson over to Itabena while you're out that way?
No, I'm going to hit the junior college while I'm out here. So I come out early to get a jump on the team and get out and get out recruiting.
Right. Now, how often do you do that? Like, especially with this road trip, where we've got three road games in 4 weeks. Is that something you normally do? Kind of travel to some spots ahead of the team?
Yeah. Anytime we play out of town, I arrive in town on Wednesday, and I get out Thursday and Friday before the team arrives.
Gotcha. Marcus, go ahead. Get a question or two in here while we got Coach and we got a good signal and everything.
Yes, Coach, thanks for coming on. I wanted to ask about the importance or the significance of FAMU having all classification football championships being in Bragg this year.
It's very, very important from a financial standpoint. Definitely. I mean, we don't have the biggest budget, so we do our fair share of getting around recruiting, but it benefits us to have the best talent in the state of Florida right there on our campus, where they get a chance to see our facilities, and we get a chance to see those guys perform without spending a dollar.
Now, in terms of how much interaction you can have, and I'm not familiar with all the calendar, and I don't know if that's like a dead period or a quiet period. What kind of interaction are you allowed to have once they're on campus, or what kind of restrictions are there in place, just from the general NCAA recruiting calendar?
Well, well, it won't be a evaluation period. It'll be a quiet period, so we can have some contact being that they are on our campus.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Go ahead, Kelvin.
Coach, man, awesome job you doing, man. You and the staff as a whole, but man, just awesome job, man. And I kind of want to get your thoughts on. It seems like a lot of the local guys taking a lot of pride in coming home and playing for the Rattlers. We got a lot on the squad. We getting good reception from guys who still playing at the high school level, and then guys transferring back. Is that a focus of yours? I know you're a local guy like me, and just talk about the benefits of that and what's driving that.
Well, that's definitely a focus of Coach Simmons. I mean, to have the local guys stay home, that's big. I mean, for one, it puts butts in the seats, and also, it just gives us a chance to recruit right here in town. But that's definitely a focus point for us. I mean, the local guys, a lot of local guys that's coming back. I had a relationship with those guys before they went off to the bigger schools, and when they go into the portal, they're comfortable coming home, knowing that I'm here, and also that Coach Simmons is running a great program.
Love it, man.
Hey, Coach, this past weekend, I think I heard Coach Simmons say there was, well, actually, the last two home games, about a total of 200 recruits, almost about 100 each weekend. What those numbers? What were those numbers in total? I guess, or were there any repeats from one weekend to the next, or are those all new guys each weekend?
Well, we'll always have repeats. I mean, you guys once guys get snake bitten, they got to come back. So they got here and they felt the environment, and they always want to double back. But there were a lot of new guys, but there were definitely some guys that were here the week before. But the West Florida game, there was 100 recruits here, and this past weekend, Alabama State, there was 115 recruits here.
That's nice. Now, what kind of thing? What kind of reviews? I know every weekend, I'm sure between parents and the kids, I'm sure you guys do some evaluation and the comments. What are some of the things you're hearing from the recruits? What are they enjoying? What are they taking in? What's really selling the program outside of the winning culture? What are some of the things you're hearing?
Man, it's the electric atmosphere in Bragg Stadium.
Really?
I mean, it's been spectacular this year, which it always has been in the past, but this year has a special ring to it. And I think that has to do something with, I think we're itching towards the championship. So, of course, the fans are going to be more festive, and it's just been a crazy atmosphere. I mean, the kids, after every game, I always put on Twitter, I ask them to rate their experience from 1 to 10, and I get nothing but 10, sometimes 100 out of 100 and 1,000 out of 1,000.
Wow.
I mean, that's just the response that we've been getting.
Man, that's lovely. That's lovely. Makes it a great opportunity for you guys to kind of take your pick and get your pick of who you want. Go ahead, Marcus.
I guess my next question is, if you wouldn't mind, elaborating a little bit as much as you can in terms of the changes that you've seen or the changes that you've helped to foster on the FAMU football recruiting since you arrived 2 years ago.
Well, I'll say this. I mean, Coach Simmons and staff has always done a great job at recruiting. They've always done a great job. I think what's taking it to the next level is having a guy to come in that doesn't coach a position. I don't coach. I don't break down any film. I don't watch any film. I recruit all day and all night. I think that's the biggest thing, because they've always done a great job. As I've said before on y'all show, I never take all the credit for what's going on here at FAMU as far as recruiting go. I'm not that guy, but I know for sure that's what it is. I mean, just having a guy that's dedicated to recruiting, and he doesn't have to do anything else but recruit.
Okay, and I also saw that you, I guess maybe a month or so ago, you put out some feelers for some recruiting interns or recruiting graduate students. How did that go?
It went pretty well. We got some interns from that are students right here at FAMU that volunteer their time with me on game day. So that works out great. It's hard to entertain 100 recruits and their families by myself. So to have those students to come in and dedicate their time, it's been a blessing.
Thank you, Coach.
Kelvin, you want to get one last one in there with Coach?
Yeah, Coach, pull back the layer of the onion skin on the recruiting process. I kind of like to know how you approach who to offer, and then going from offer to early signing, and then reevaluate, reshuffling the deck, and going to the regular signing period. Kind of talk about your process, your thought process as a staff.
Well, for one, I mean, first, we're looking for guys with great character. Definitely great character, also great grades. FAMU has become an institution that's how in academics in which we've always been, but we're continuing to grow, and getting into FAMU is becoming harder. So we're looking for guys with great character and great academics. And then, man, one of our biggest things is speed. I mean, we're in Florida, so you got to be able to run. Whether I don't care if you're a D lineman, an O lineman, or whatever position, you got to be able to run. But those are some of the top things that we look for when we're recruiting, and with the early signing period. The early signing period is pretty much dedicated to the JUCO and the portal. All right, so we get on the high school guys in the second signing period. So that first period is dedicated to the portal in the JUCO. That's why I'm out here in Mississippi now, to get a beat on the JUCO guys out here in Mississippi.
Okay,
Nice.
awesome, good.
What your numbers? You already project. Obviously, you have to project out next season and maybe even 2 years from now. Does the number that you don't have to give me a number? I'm not asking for a number, but does the number that you're looking at for the early signing period and spring 24, is it larger than last year, or is it about the same?
And to be honest, it may be larger. We're losing a lot of older guys, so we have to fill a lot of gaps in those spaces. So it may be maybe a little larger.
And with that, does there comes a balance? And I guess Coach Simmons and you and the staff have to decide: do you go younger or do you go older? I know you talked about the philosophy of the early period, but what makes that decision in terms of the number, like how you split that up between high school and JUCO / transfer portal?
Well, we'll always be dedicated to taking some high school guys. Of course, the recruiting game has changed a lot. It has. So if you're recruiting against your competition and they're recruiting almost strictly portal, you kind of have to match fire with fire. But we'll always take high school guys, definitely. And, the way we kind of split that up is what we have in each room. So if we have an older defensive line room, of course, we can take some younger guys in the D-line room. If we have a younger room of returning guys, of course, we'll want to put older guys in there for leadership.
Gotcha. All right. Any last questions here? So I know it's a late night. Coach is going to be looking for his luggage, or he's without his luggage. Any final anything you want to? Any last things, Marcus? Or are we good?
No, I think I'm good. I mean, we can always invite Coach back, but I think, given the late hour and everything else, we probably let him get on out of here and get settled in.
Well, hey, Coach, man, we appreciate you taking time, jumping on with us. We hope that the luggage shows up well and everything, and
everything's in it.
Yeah, everything's in it. Right. You had no FAMU tags on it or nothing. You be okay probably. The folks in Jackson. Anyway, let me not say that. They're gonna take care of you. But hey, Coach, man, you guys be safe out there. Be safe on the road. Good luck out there on the recruiting trail, and good luck in Itabino on Saturday.
Okay, I appreciate you guys for having me.
Yes, sir.
All right, appreciate you, Coach, for coming on.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All
Go
right.
Rattlers.
All right, Coach Rispress joining us. That's awesome, man. Glad he was able to jump in and join us for that segment. All All right. Couple other quick notes before we get into the picks and the schedule for this upcoming week. I feel like we have to make mention of the fact that another volleyball player, of course, as mentioned earlier in the show, volleyball split over the weekend. Unfortunately, lost to Alabama State on Friday, but they won against Alabama A&M in a sweep. Camila De La Rosa collected her second SWAC award this past week. She's now a two-time SWAC Player of the Week, as she was again the newcomer of the week after compiling 52 assists in the opening weekend. She had 29 assists, 9 digs against Alabama State, and had 3 blocks and 23 assists against Alabama A&M. So,
hey, Brian or Marcus, do you know? Because I asked Coach. I was at the Alabama State game early, and before the game started, I had a chance to briefly chat with Coach Gokon, and he was pretty coy in his response. Those players who didn't play in that Charleston tournament, that South Carolina tournament, did you notice if they played or not? Because he was very non-committal when I asked him, was everybody? I asked him
they
what the question
did.
I asked was anybody hurt?
I think
no, everybody's
Brooklyn
healthy.
Watts played.
Brooklyn Watts played. I do know that.
I'm not sure about Dominique Turner.
Yeah, he said he did say there were no injury issues.
Okay.
Okay.
Sounds like some might have been something else going on that caused a few people to maybe miss some game time, is what it sounded like.
All right, you gotta focus.
Yeah, gotta focus.
Before you go too far, Brian, I do want to circle back around to the recruiting, because now that Coach Riss is off, we can talk about. We did get another verbal commitment early, I think on Monday.
Okay, is that
and that graphics? Not him. Not actually. He's I put that in there because that's a track guy that crossed off Tennessee or Miami.
Okay,
it should be in there. Make sure I saved it.
So it may not be in there. I think I know who you're talking about, because I think I saw the tweet.
Okay, yeah, Jalen Neal. He's a 3-star defensive back athlete from Buford High School in Georgia. It was one of the powerhouses.
Yes,
and they've moved up, and they're at the top classification, Class 7A now. They've moved up from 5A, 6A.
And if I remember correctly, they nationally ranked too.
Highly likely. I haven't checked recently, and I know, but typically they're in the mix for state titles at whatever classification they're playing, and they've won at just about every level. So now they're at the highest level in Georgia. Now,
Jalen Neal, is that who you're talking about? Right there? Yep, there it is right there.
And he's a consensus 3-star from On3 Sports, ESPN, and Rivals, not ranked by 24/7 Sports. But he gave us a verbal commitment, and he visited during the University of West Florida weekend. I don't know if he came back for Alabama State, but I think on Mondays when he gave us his verbal commitment. So it'll be interesting. Once again, accumulating a lot of young talent at the skill positions, either via transfer, high school, or transfer or high school. So, you think about between this young man for class of 2024, we got a 3-star class of 2023 player from Palm Beach Central that, seems to, have a lot of talent. We have another 3-star who played running back and defensive back for University Christian, Oral Gray. He played for University Christian over in Jacksonville, another consensus 3-star who played offense and defense. So we're accumulating, in addition to the transfer talent, that's young, redshirted talent coming in on the wide receiver. So outside at the skill positions, we're building up a lot of young talent. Now, as Coach Riss also mentioned, we have a lot of senior talent at the defensive line. So I'm kind of curious to see where that's going to go. Because I think I don't know how many folks will be returning after next year, maybe a transfer that came in 2022, like James Ash. And I think it'll be either his redshirt junior or redshirt senior year for Gentle Hunt. And then hopefully, of course, we'll have everyone returning. But we have a lot of seniors. Some of the transfers this year were seniors or graduate students along the defensive line.
Just want to remind people.
That's all I have.
Okay, if you have I know I thought I saw somebody in the chat, might have been Bull, that had a name of somebody. Always hit up Coach Riz on Twitter at Coach2Bless. That's the number 2. So Coach2Bless. Send him an email or if you got a kid's clip. I mean, I'm sure he goes through videos all the time. So he's always looking, always searching. And so if you send it, and then I would tell that young athlete, I would tell him, hey, send something to this coach from FAMU. And, you never know, man. We're always looking. And I think we got one of the best in college football. And
Absolutely.
I think we were number 2 or 3 in the FCS or HBCU. I think we're on our way to being number 1 easily. But you want to be in the top 5 to 10. I mean, that's the championship programs are made up of recruiting in the top, 5 to 10. If you can stay within that range, you'll be good to go. One other athletic team performance that we got to mention. How about the men's golf? Men's golf team placed second at the BCGCA Black College Hall of Fame event. That was Monday and Tuesday in Stockbridge, Georgia, on the Eagles Landing Country Club course. The Rattlers finished second with a total score of 585. Top 10 finishes were for these names, boy. Patrick M. I'm going to say Patrick M. He finished with a score of 140. And then Patrick Jean-Pierre with a score of 144. He finished 7th. Patrick M. finished 3rd. Jean-Pierre finished 7th. And then you had Taylor Bell finishing 20th, and then Jonathan Scott finishing tied for 21st. So nice job by our men's golf team. Let's kind of quickly, I just want to quickly look and see where they're at next. In October, they'll be playing at the USF Invitational Plantation. That'll be in Brooksville, Georgia. So that's where they'll be. That's a Monday and Tuesday. So that's where they'll be. And they got a busy October. They got 3 tournaments in October. In Brooksville, Georgia, Cary, North Carolina, and Kennesaw, Georgia as well. Okay. Let's go through the roundup of the SWAC, and then let's get out of here. Let's see if we can do this in 5 minutes. I'm setting a goal here. 5 minutes. We're not going to go through the games from last week, although I will take note that I think I did get the bold prediction correct, as your boy called for a pick 6, and I got one. So finally got one, and so I think we are now all have one bold prediction win under our plate, or on our plate, or under our belt is, I guess that's the better way of saying that phrase, right? All right. So for this upcoming weekend, the SWAC, Jackson State and Bethune-Cookman, 2 teams who just played each other. Those 2 teams are on a bye. Everybody else is playing somebody this week. First game up to bat, gentlemen, it's homecoming in Alabama, A&M in Huntsville, Alabama. It's Tuskegee, who are unbeaten and sitting atop sitting in the top 3, top 4, and many people's polls in Division II or mid-major under non-Division I football rankings. Tuskegee 4-0 coming into Alabama A&M for homecoming. The game is 3 p.m. Eastern on HBCU Go. Who you got winning this one, Kelvin?
Tricky, but I'm gonna go with Alabama A&M at home. Close.
Okay, Marcus.
I'll say the same. Skeega's undefeated and they're coming in hot, but I think Alabama A&M might pull it out.
Man, the value of beating somebody on the road. Alabama A&M got a win, did they not? This past week on Thursday last week.
Yeah,
and they got 10 days to prepare.
Man, I think Tuskegee is gonna give them. That's gonna be a. Oof. I'm riding with y'all, but I will not be surprised to lose that game to Alabama if they lose that game. I will not be surprised in the least. Another homecoming game. This one in Houston, Texas Southern hosting Lincoln, California, who we will see later on in the year. That's 3 p.m. Eastern. Still no word on if Andrew Body will play.
Apparently he put out some kind of cryptic or not so cryptic post on social media today. Yeah.
You leaving?
Well, and you can't always rely on
that's what I'm
interpretation of people.
anticipating.
Yeah, you can't always rely on
I wouldn't be
interpretation
shocked
of
if
Twitter.
he's in the transfer reporter after this season, and he's not returning.
Kind of another Kalen. What's the kid? Kalen Newton did a similar thing. Season got off to a bad start, maybe due to injury or whatever, and then he just kind of walked away from it all and went transferred. My guy Tony here. Tony's saying he is out for the year. Ooh, wow. That's breaking news. That's a tough one for head coach McKinney, man. McKinney had been, this is the final year on his contract, if I'm not mistaken. He had been building to this season. I mean, he had really done a took a program that was 0-10 or something like that, 0-11, 1-10.
What's their record right now?
0-4, 0-5. Might get their first win against.
This may be the only one.
This might be the only one. Yes, indeed, it might be the only one. Yeah, don't be putting that out there on.
I think we all picking Texas Southern on this one. We can go to the next one.
Yeah, we're not even gonna mess with that one. Okay, the next one, Southern traveling to UAPB, Kelvin's favorite team, 5 p.m. Eastern.
Tricky.
Here we go. Southern.
This one at home, and Southern got us net, so it's a perfect trap game. Give me my theme music. I'm going with upset. I'm going UAPB.
Oh man, going with the home team. Marcus, what do you got?
I don't know. I might be cured of the UAPB. I'm about to get it like Bumani said. I'm gonna have to. What does he say? Get off the I forgot what he said.
Get off the slide. Get off the slide. What?
No, not off the slide. Get off that. Get off the drug.
Get off the drug. Get off the juice.
Yeah. So I'm going to get off that UAPB juice. I'm gonna go with Southern. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going with Southern too.
Trap game. Good team. At home trap game. Remember I said it. Take a picture, write it down.
It's on wax. It's written. Unless you erase it out of the off the screen here, it's there. It's on wax. Okay, another SWAC matchup. Two teams coming off of a loss, and essentially this game could kind of knock someone out of any kind of contention of winning their division. That's Alcorn State traveling to Alabama State, 6 p.m. Eastern. Woo. That's going to be a tough one. I don't know who to pick on this one.
Defensive slugfest. I'm going to go with Alabama State at home. I think they quarterback. I think they got a slightly better defense. The offense, and I believe the quarterback, will continue to get better. So I'm going to go with, in a very tight game, I'm going to go with Alabama State.
Yeah, I think if you see a point spread anywhere under around 38 to 39, take the under. Take the under. I think points will be at a premium in this.
Yeah, it ain't gonna be a lot of scoring.
Marcus, what do you think?
Who are they playing? It's Alabama State against who?
Alcorn State, who lost on the last minute at the buzzer to Prairie View
at home.
At home, lost at home on a field goal.
That's tough because, well, I mean, Alabama State's defense was tough last week, especially in the second half. But we know Alcorn's got, don't they? I think they have that star running back who's in the first team all conference.
Jarvion Howard.
And where's it being played?
Alabama
State, Montgomery.
I'm gonna go with them on a slim margin. Alabama State. Hornets in a close one.
Yeah, the schedule. I mean, already this season, Alabama State. This would be their third home game in the first 4 games of the season. I think they do play like six home games this season, but 3 in the first 4. I mean, that's pretty impressive. Unfortunately, they're 1-2. I'm sticking with Alabama State, and I'm going with the home team. State Fair Classic is the last matchup that we got. Prairie View off the last-second field goal on the road, and Grambling coming off of a win. The State Fair Classic in Dallas, 7 p.m. Eastern on ESPN Plus in the historic Cotton Bowl. Prairie View has won the last 6 contests. Before that, Grambling had won like the previous 5. So this is will a streak continue? Will a new streak get started? What do you see, Kelvin? Prairie View versus Grambling.
You know, everybody talk about Grambling quarterback who was at Alabama State and the offense. They done played Florida Memorial and Texas Southern. So I got to see it. This game will tell me a lot about Grambling. I'm gonna go with Prairie View on this one.
I knew you were going that way. As soon as the way you started that, I started typing and like, oh, he's going Prairie View. Marcus, who do you got?
I'm gonna go with Grambling. We'll see how it works out. I don't know. It seems like PV. I don't know. It's kind of up and down historically. I don't know if they've.
You're right.
You know,
they are up and down. Coming off an emotional win.
Yeah. I think the streak comes to an end. I pick Grambling. I think that'll be look. If that happens, you potentially might have Grambling sitting at 2-0 in the West in first place.
And
so I'll be Grambling right now has either the number 1 or number 2 offense right behind us or with us in the SWAC right now. And those 2 running backs they got, those 2 dudes.
I do like them.
I'm glad we don't have Grambling on the schedule right now. That's all, you know. But that's all right. We may see them in Bragg for the SWAC championship game. But anyway, okay, bold prediction time. FAMU at Mississippi Valley State, 7 p.m. Eastern is the kickoff. That's 6 Central. The game it will be on the Mississippi Valley State network. YouTube. Yes, it'll be on YouTube. We talked about maybe I have to broadcast the game in Savannah State, so I will miss most of this game. We talked about doing a watch party. I know I was talking to Keith Hadley of Fangs Up Podcast about doing a watch party. So I don't know. Just be looking out for something that might get done. But let's go bold predictions. Obviously, we all think FAMU is going to win this game. What's the bold prediction that you're willing to make on this game, though, Kelvin?
I'm tired of trying to predict about scoring points. That don't seem to pan out. So I'm going to go the opposite way. I'm going to predict a shutout.
Ooh, I like that. That's good. That's likely.
Interesting.
What was the final score against North Carolina Central? 45-3, or was it 45-7?
Yep,
45-3.
Wow. All right.
Now this also makes their first home game, so it'll be interesting.
It's
at night.
Oof. So the grass will be really green. The grass will be really green for this one. It should look good on television, on YouTube, rather. All right. What do you got, Marcus? What's your prediction?
I keep making special teams predictions like punt returns and all that other stuff. I say we're gonna get over 200 yards rushing.
Mm.
Don't
All
do
right.
it, Marcus. Don't fall for
it.
Hey, wait till you hear mine though, Marcus, because in order, I was just sitting here thinking about it as I was writing it, and I'm thinking, okay, in order for this to happen, this has to happen, and then you go say what you said. So now I'm kind of like, I don't know about mine now, but anyway, I'm predicting over 500 yards of total offense. So I'm going with that very fact that hopefully the rushing game shows up with a over 100, 150, maybe close to 2, and that the passing hits over 3. So anyway, I'm going over 500 yards of total offense. You notice other than Kelvin's with a shutout, none of us talked about a score, which, look, I mean, are we all, tell the truth, we're going to be, to what level of disappointment are we going to be if we can't put at least 40 up on the board?
You got to be disappointed. Delta State put up 35, Central put up 45, and that's without their starting quarterback who didn't play that game.
Right.
So the expectation should be a blowout, should be at least a 40 piece, and that's what I'm riding with. And it's gonna be disappointing. All this. Look here. This is everybody on the show, and who gonna watch it later. All this talk about, you got to play every game, all that coaches speak stuff, man, blah, blah, blah. We don't play the best 4 teams on our schedule. We got a loaded team. If we are who we think we are, then damn it, blow somebody out. That's what good teams do. They blow out the teams they're supposed to.
And to be honest, we should have had at least 2 by now. Because Jackson State, we had a lot of missed passes. And either South Florida or last week, with the opportunities. Alabama State, I give them a pass with the defense. Not a pass, but they have a good defense, and they came out second half. But we had a 14-3 lead at halftime. But with West Florida and Jackson State, the opportunities were there to do so. We didn't execute well in the first half against West Florida and second half against Jackson State. Because for all intents and purposes, we could be looking at giving up 9 points total across our 3 FCS games. Because that touchdown for Jackson State came when the backup quarterback came in after Jason Brown got his hand hurt. And he was scrambling. He was a different kind of quarterback. And we blew that coverage. And they got that long pass. West Florida, that in and of itself. And then last week, Alabama State got the touchdown on a ball that was tipped twice in the middle of the field with 2 defenders right there, and the quarterback just heaving it in the middle of the field late.
Yeah, he just
in the grasp.
Yeah.
So those plays, which no discredit to the wide receivers who caught it and ran the ball in, but were plays that aren't the way you drew them up. Otherwise, if everything else stayed the same, we would have been looking at 3 points versus Alabama State, 3 points versus Jackson State, and a really, really good showing against the top 10 Division II school that's annually in the playoffs and has a national championship under their belt.
Well said, Marcus. Well said. Well said. Good job. All right. I want to remind everybody. Make sure you're following us on our social media accounts. That's ONG StrikeZone, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Be looking out for the BCSN Pod Zone everywhere you download and listen to podcasts. Do us a favor and just go download, rate, review, share the podcast, whether you're listening to it right now on YouTube. We appreciate everybody who's watching it live. Know many of you are watching it after the fact. You can always email the show, ongstrikezone@gmail.com. Send in your questions, send in your suggestions, your thoughts, maybe some guests that maybe we should try to bring on to the show. Hopefully you enjoyed Maya Ellison, who came on earlier. Hopefully Coach Capri Howard, who joined us. And then, of course, course, Coach Riz, Devin Rispress, for taking some time on the road in the airport to call us. Please let them know on social media that you appreciate them coming on the show, taking time out and talking to us, talking to you. That's how we keep those guests coming. Final words, Marcus, anything you want to add? Final thought, word?
I'm just excited about this weekend. Can't wait to see how it turns out. And hopefully it turn out with a blowout victory. No injuries. Everybody come back safe and sound and get ready for Southern.
Kelvin.
Congratulations to all the Hall of Fame inductees from this past weekend, and also to George Godfather Thompson in the naming of the equipment room in his honor with the collage and everything. Well deserving.
And also, I'm going to add congratulations to, there's a group of FAMU alums that were recently recognized by the Florida High School Athletic Association Hall of Fame. I had their names written down, doggone it, and I left that sheet of paper back in my office like a loser. I
think at least two, maybe Traz Powell and Bob Hayes.
One was Bob Hayes. I
think Tyrone.
Don't Coleman goes in?
Who?
Coleman. Didn't I see somewhere where he going into the athletic?
No. That's the Florida Sports.
Greg Coleman.
That's the Florida Sports Hall of Fame. I'm talking
about.
Yeah,
he's going in this month though.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the Florida High School Athletic Association.
Okay.
Let's see. Coach Roll's mother, Frankie Shannon Roll, she went in. Bob Hayes went in. Nathaniel Trask Powell went in. The other two, I had them. Earl S. Kitchings went in.
Congratulations, Earl.
And then was
Earl Senior.
This is Earl Senior. Yeah. I was
yeah.
Say, this is Earl Senior, not
yeah.
And then Bob Hayes. So there's the five. There's the five right there. Right there. Bob Hayes, Earl S. Kitchings, Nathaniel Trask Powell, Frankie Shannon Roll, and I feel like I forgot. Did I just forget somebody? I know I did. Anyway, hopefully I said all five of them. Blanche General Ely. That's the fifth. Miss Blanche General Ely. That's the fifth one. So there they are, the five inductees to the 33rd annual Florida Athletic Hall of Fame. That's that joint venture there between the FIAA, which then later became the FHSAA. So, that's coaches, administrators, and athletes. All of those individuals were them. So we continue to celebrate our history, and let's continue to share that love with the world. We are the greatest university in the state of Florida. We are the greatest HBCU in the nation, and one of the best universities in the country. Yes, now it's time to go. I don't know who just typed that in there. Somebody did. The boss did. All right.
Boss probably.
He did. He probably looked up and said, really? Anyway, time to go, folks. Fangs up in Itabena. Man, we love this show.
We just giving the people what they want.
Giving the people what they want. That's what we do.
We committed. Working overtime.
Peace out, everybody. You guys be safe. I'm not even going to add to that. All right. We'll let you know via on social media if we're going to do any kind of post-game show or anything like that. So you guys be looking out. Thanks again for watching. Share the show. Rate, review wherever you can. And God bless everybody. Be safe. Peace out.